If you like rallycross, if you like the sideways action and all the madness, RallyX TV on YouTube is the place to watch it. So like, subscribe, and you know where to find us.
Hello and welcome to round 4 of RallyX Nordic, and we're coming to you live from the legendary rallycross track, Rallycross Utopia, you could say. This, of course, is Höljes in Sweden, and we will have every second of rallycross action all afternoon for you from every angle you could possibly imagine on the track that is very much the home to Send It. Of course, Andrew Coley and Höljes will be in the commentary box for you this weekend, and over the course of the afternoon, where we will have the semi-finals and the finals, I'll be buzzing about the paddock, getting all of the latest news and reaction from the drivers as well. As you can see from some of the beautiful shots we've been showing you, Höljes is looking absolutely spectacular. It was dry on Thursday for round 3. It's been wet all weekend though. Nicholas Gronholm, of course, is TQ going into the semi-finals and finals in the Supercar. We do, of course, have all of the Crosscar Junior, Crosscar, two-wheel drive, Supercar Light and Supercar action to bring you as well. I've mentioned Nicholas Gronholm. I'm very handily placed right outside his spot here in the paddock as well. We're now going to take a look back at how he won round 3. Here it is.
Casper Janssen on the outside now needing 2 jokers. Great start by Nils on the inside. Tommy Hamill with a good start too. Nils left side by side with Östlund. Östlund going to have to give way here. Nils slots into the lead. Östlund going to jump on the brakes and go standard lap with them. Janssen nearly collects them behind, but anchors up somehow. Brilliant job. Tommy Hellman goes joker. Enlund has gone in behind, and Casper Janssen takes the first of 2 jokers with it. Janssen trying to find a way past Enlund. Going through the deep dirt, not going to get that done. They're going to lose a bit more time. Through the crest to the right, he's going to go now, wait to the final lap. They wait final lap, Östlund goes. So Östlund, this will be a good indicator of how close Hellman is. Östlund into the joker and coming out. I think it's going to be pretty close. Östlund runs a bit deep for my liking. Hellman gets him. It's going to be close. Here we go, Nils Andersen into the joker lap. Watch for Tommy Hellman on the standard lap on the inside line. Andersen's going to get it straight on the exit. Hellman's going to have more exit speed though. Oh, it's so close, and Nils Andersen just loses out. Hellman maybe edging him not just on that last lap by 1/10 of a second. On in lights at Nielsen in the second round, who's stamping a bit of authority on this one, looking like a championship contender. Tommy Hellman takes his 2nd win of the year. Nils Andersen P2, and crossing the line for 3rd, Linus Östlund. Tommy Hellman leads the standings by 12 points from Linus Östlund. Simon Olofsson is just a couple of points back. Nils Andersen in there. Anti-lag, fully lit, green light, good start Saab on road 2, but Evgen's got a great start on the inside line. Markham's going to have to take the wide line. Evgen runs everybody deep. Gronholm goes up the inside, got to go joker, surely does. Niklas Gronholm goes straight to the joker, German's gone with him. These, and then it's going to come down to Evgen and Gronholm. Oh, and Evgen runs deep, drops a wheel off into the dirt, has to take the joker lap. He didn't plan that. Nobody jokers in the lead on lap 2. He's dropped it. Gronholm's going to come through now and get the space. Surely he does. That's a mistake in turn 1, just run a little bit too deep. Here we go into joker territory now. Markland's a bit deep and does go, and Saba goes 2. That releases McConnell to the inside line. Gronholm's going to come through though to take the lead. Evgen going to get it as well. Evgen's got both of them, so with the mistake even in turn 1, Sondre Evgen still holds on to P2. Here later in the season if they enter World RX, Niklas Gronholm through the long left-hander, takes the checker flag, wins at round 3 of RallyX Nordic. But despite Johan Kristoffersson not making it through to the final, he still leads the championship on 74 points, 4 points ahead of Sondre Evgen, who was in P2. Evgen was 5 points back, so he's made 1 point up.
So a brilliant result then for Niklas Gronholm. Misfortune, of course, for Johan Kristoffersson. That misfortune has continued throughout the course of the weekend as well, both in Q1 and Q2 yesterday, Q3 and Q4. Lots more action to bring you. And of course, we also have the RX2E cars, the electric cars, and the Super Team Challenge out on the track throughout the course of this afternoon as well. So much to bring you. If you haven't been watching so far this weekend, where have you been? We're about to catch you up on all of the action. Here is the recap of Q1, Q2, Q3 and Q4.
We have seen some brilliant racing this weekend, particularly from this man in lights, Tommy Hellman. Hal has just been absolutely epic. He's only stepped up to this category this year and he's been thrashing everyone.
Yeah, whatever the conditions have been, he's been quickest in the lights category. The conditions all weekend have been, or all weekend for round 4 here, have been really mixed, haven't they? Both in Supercar Lites and the other classes.
Yeah, Supercar here. You've seen some brilliant passes. Fraser McConnell's done some good stuff this weekend. Kristoffersen's had a few issues. We know he's been battling those a bit. This was Harper Mackie getting fired off in the electric start car. They've been getting some great starts. They were struggling a little bit in the dry with tyre temperatures coming up a bit too much. Then in the wet, Backer had a heat win in the wet and in the dry. This was Höljes again, and Hal, he really was untouchable through the first 3 sessions. This is Q2 from Lites. A bit of contact here. Olofsson, meanwhile, has had it rough again. He couldn't seem to change his luck from the bad luck in Nielsen when he lost his timing belt in the second semi.
No, he got a proper squeeze into the wall there going over the line from Enland, didn't he? When things aren't going your way, it's just really difficult, isn't it? Whereas Höljes, as we've discussed, has just been riding the crest of the wave. That young Finn is really turning some heads in this paddock. Yeah,
doing absolutely brilliantly. Some great comments coming from some very, very high-level drivers. More drone shots on the run to turn 1. This was Markland dropping it in the wet. Yeah, Markland, you know how class he is if you're a Rallycross fan. This was Fraser McConnell slotting into a gap between Gronholm and Kristoffersen. Kristoffersen actually mugged him then at the velodrome. He only ran, what, half a car wide? That was enough, though, because there's half a car's room in the grass.
You don't need to give Kristoffersen any opportunity, do you? And he'll be straight up the inside. The racing through the first couple of corners here at Höljes is absolutely brilliant, isn't it? Especially in the lower down races in Supercar. There's all sorts of bits of niggles and contact. Look at in the lights there. Holman's so composed yet again.
He's just been tidy, hasn't he? He's been absolutely brilliant. You caught a glimpse as well of Kasper Janssen there in the green and black car heading off to the side of the road. If you watched Nielsen, he was wild there. Been really consistent here. Got himself up to P5 and then unfortunately had a bit of a spin, got a bit too enthusiastic and ended up losing out. Was Olofsson in a super close finish, and back to Supercar again. Look at the way the conditions have changed, just starting to dry up. This was Kristoffersen putting a move on Evjen. Evjen again left only the same size gap that McConnell left, but you can't leave Kristoffersen a gap that big. The attitude of that Polo said everything we need to know, and that was that he was on a full charge. So Kristoffersen, despite having a few issues with the car, has been trying his level best to hand it to the Hyundais.
Andreas Backerud in the previous shot there, racing an electric car, as is Harper Mackie in the green Ford Fiesta here. First time ever that they've raced an international event together with internal combustion engine machines. Enzo Eid there in the Audi, battling with Anton Markland. He's been impressive too.
He was, yeah, around the outside and then not giving way when it came to the Joker lap merge. Good job by him. Finally, things went Olofsson's way, and not so much for Höljes. It wasn't a bad one for Höljes. He lost out at the start. You could see him back out of it. He'd won 3 qualifying sessions. He knew he'd got the TQ spot in the bag. Meanwhile, Olofsson's luck changed and he came in considerably ahead of Höljes. The conditions were changeable through the entire session, so you can't read too much into the varying pace from the front to the back of the field. Kasper Janssen back on it again. Really impressive. This was Gronholm. Eid getting into the back of him. Sabo going off to the Joker on the first lap. Kristoffersen had lost out on the start again. He's had a couple of dodgy starts today, Hal. He won't want that in the semi-finals.
Has they've been battling clutch problems all day today with the Polo and a couple of other issues. Christian Szabo in that race was on a flyer, having jokered on lap 1. This was a brilliant battle in the first couple of corners here through the Joker lap with Evjen and Backerud.
Yeah, Backer had actually out-dragged him in the deep mud, which we've not seen anyone do. Look at this, 3 cars wide over the first crest. That's the first time I've seen that shot from the drone. It's absolutely brilliant. Fraser McConnell here, out at the front of the pack. Choo-Choo had a puncture there. A good recovery from McConnell, but probably not enough. Well, it wasn't enough, as you can see, to get him up onto the front row. So here you got your semi-finals. Top 12 go through. So semi-final 1 will be Gronholm, Markland, McConnell, Gurman, Backerud and Michalak. And semi-final 2 will be Kristoffersen, Szabo, Evjen, Eid, Hedstrom and Harper Mackie has made it in P12. So both the electric cars are in on the back rows of the grid. All our championship contenders, the top 3. You've got Evjen, you've got Kristoffersen and you've got McConnell fighting it out for that. Look at Höljes there, 3 wins from 4. The 4th session went to Simon Olofsson. That dragged Olofsson up. We thought it might do. He's got a front row start alongside you're going to see Niels Andersen, who so nearly won here on Thursday in round 3. You've got Linus Osland, who's racing at home. His dad here is a part of the operating crew from the circuit. Enland, Sokvist, Daneklev, Janssen, Jonsson, Exbeth, Foss and Oskarsson are the top 12 for Lites. Hope you've enjoyed the action so far here from RallyX Nordic. I don't even know how many sessions there have been. I'm not really sure what day of the week it is. I think it's Sunday. Whatever day it is, it's a race day, so it's a good day. We're coming up to semi-final time. Semi-finals for me, Hal, are often the best bit of the weekend. Normally one of them. One of the semi-finals, people lose their minds and go, I have to make the final, and things happen.
It's like a total reset, isn't it? Qualifying's done, that's out of the way, and now it's a whole new thought process going into it. Time is irrelevant now, and it's all about race position to make it through to the final.
And I sometimes think that means that the thought process doesn't involve a lot of thinking. You know what I mean? It's things go awry.
You've got to go all in, haven't you? That's what it's all about.
Good stuff. What do we got next? Race control? Okay, good stuff. Right, well, we're finishing this championship early this year. We're finishing it early because we're going to put the cars on a boat and head off to something ever so awesome over in the United States of America. It's coming to Europe as well. We're going to have a decent chat about it, but this is Nitro Rallycross.
From the mind of action sports icon Travis Pastrana.
This is the only course in the world where cars literally fly.
Comes the next evolution in motorsport.
This is our Super Bowl. This is our Daytona 500, our Stanley Cup playoff game.
Spectacular purpose-built courses.
We decided to build one of the wildest tracks ever.
Incredible locations, from the desert to the snow. Huge jumps.
Wow, it's like they're launching out of a machine gun.
And drama at every turn.
This is literally the best, the wildest rallycross in the existence of the history of rallycross.
Welcome to Nitro Rallycross.
Welcome indeed to Nitro Rallycross. I can't wait for that. Been lucky enough to be at the first two events in 2018 and 19, and they were absolutely epic. And we're delighted to have with us Chip Pankow, General Manager for Nitro Rallycross, who's made a special trip all the way across the Atlantic to come here to Höljes. Chip, how you doing?
Very well. Came here for the weather.
Yeah, it's been interesting, hasn't it? It was almost Arctic this morning. But look, you've been to Höljes before, haven't you? You've got a long history in Rallycross. We're super excited about Nitro, but this I know has got you all fired up to get the season underway. I can't wait. You know, September already, but we got some Nordic stuff to finish off first. You had a good time?
It's always great to be here at Höljes, and it's great to be back. It's been amazing to watch, and I think they've got 178 cars here, if I heard correctly, all different classes. I'm watching 11-year-olds race cross cars and things like that, and it's fantastic, up to world champions. Yeah,
it's the split of the different classes and the people and the guests we've had in the studio as well. I mean, Marcus Gronholm, Andreas Backer. I know we're looking to get some of those faces across to Nitro Rallycross. We're talking big circuits, aren't we? We're talking the best drivers. We're talking a big entry as well. I know there aren't many details we can reveal right now, but we're pretty fired up for this.
We are, as you said. We start in September in Utah, and we're going to have a big field. Best drivers in the world, and you know the tracks. So it's 5 events this year, and you know you have Utah. I mean, the world's kind of seen the Utah track, and we're just going to continue to follow that along the way. So all the designs are done for the tracks, the CADs are done for the tracks, dirt is starting to move, and I mean our operations team was out last week doing site inspections at all of them, and we'll kind of keep checking in on those tracks and then beginning to test them till we get up and running and racing on them.
I can't wait to see more gap jumps. I mean, Hal, I know you've not been to a Nitro Rallycross event. Yeah, I'm keen to get you to one this year. What were your thoughts? Obviously, you're a Rallycross man through and through. Seeing Nitro from the outside is pretty epic. Yeah,
just incredibly extreme, isn't it? And my residing memory of the gap jump, like you say, is texting Timmy Hansen when he went over for the first event, and him being so dubious about attempting it for the first time. But as soon as it's all down to time, you know, they're absolutely committed to doing it, and they all love doing it once it's been done for the first time. Yeah, it's fascinating and really exciting.
You just got to hit it that first time, you know, and know the right mile per hour.
73 it was, yes, I believe, exactly. Last
not
time.
72.
No, not 72, and not 74 either. 73. We're going to head down and catch up with Laura, and we'll be back in the studio in just a minute.
Thanks very much, Coley. Now, as you can see behind me, the RX2E cars are on the grid, poised and ready to go. Let's find out a bit more about the car and what the Super Team Challenge is all about. Andrew Coley and Andreas Eriksson will tell you.
3 and 4 of RallyX Nordic 2021. We've got a little bit of a special race on this weekend. Last year, of course, we had the legends. Andreas Eriksson is, I think, one of the legends. Of course, we decided he can't drive this year. But Andreas, you've lined us up some RX2E cars. I guess you better tell us, first of all, what these are.
Now, this is the next generation RX2. and it's an electrical version, obviously, more power. I wish I was a junior again. So this car has 250 kilowatts, constant power, and it's the same weight as the normal RX2, so 1250 kilos. It's a very fast, nimble, and you know, little futuristic looking car.
Now I understand we've got 20 of them in total. How many have we got here this weekend?
We have 4.
Okay.
So we managed to get 4 here, and this will be a special race because I invited what I think very, very good drivers. And I mean, we have Marcus, Johan Kristoffersson, Andreas Backerud, Ericssons, Hansens, and I mean, what could possibly go wrong?
Well, I've had the pleasure of choosing the teammates, so we've managed to separate out the brothers and stuff. I know we've got a couple of races in there you're a bit worried about, but these are strong vehicles. They're going to be able to handle those pro drivers going at it. We don't want to see too much damage, I know. Are you excited about seeing these? We're talking about top World Championship level drivers driving the RX2 E-cars, some of them for the first time. You must be excited to get their feedback.
I think it's very important. I mean, this is the last phase. Last year we showed this car as a prototype. And now we've done a lot of extensive development on the cars, and it's very important for us to get the feedback of all these drivers. I mean, Marcus was the first one I invited because he's obviously a very good test driver, but he also says directly what he feels. He doesn't wrap it in something nice and you know, polite. He just say directly, and that's what I need.
Yeah, sure.
So if we can get all these drivers, they are very good, they drive different styles. If we can get them to like it, or at least tell us how they would like to change it, we can do that, so the juniors or the younger drivers coming into these cars actually knows they are run by guys that actually knows exactly what rallycross is. Because in the end of the day, it's important that they sit in something that works correctly from the beginning to improve the skills, and not only, I mean, it takes years to develop a car. I mean, probably Marcus will not agree, but when he was young, he wasn't so good to adjust the car, but today he is. I mean, that's what we're looking for.
Okay, cool. So this is our 4RX2 E-cars. Over here behind us is a bit of a secret project. We can't quite show you, but what can you tell us about that? I know it's not been fully revealed yet, so what details can we have? It looks cool.
I mean, we're building cars here that are equally, almost as fast as a supercar of today. That's for the younger guys. So we need to have a future, and that's the future. So the plan is that it goes 0 to 100 in about a second. That's what we hope, but under 1.5 is what we can do, and it's 1,000 horsepower.
Wow.
But not only that, it can jump 100 meters, because I have a few friends in America that wants it to jump further and land harder, and you know, it's a big brother.
Well, we're very much looking forward to seeing more of that later on this year. I think we'll see some more details, but in the meantime, I think this RX2E race is going to be very good fun for most of us. Maybe not quite so much fun for Andreas when we see the cars at the end of the weekend, but hopefully they'll be coming back in one piece, and we're excited about it, so enjoy. Well, that was on Friday. We were actually going to have 4 cars on Friday. They've held one of the cars back to do some testing. We have got in this one, in the red and blue on the inside line is Anton Markland. In the purple in the middle is Johan Kristoffersson. And in the green on the outside is Kevin Hansen. Oh, it's a super even start away from the line. Inside line, Markland should have this. Johan Kristoffersson moves out, pitches the car in. Kevin Hansen goes all the way around the outside. Kristoffersson going to go joker immediately. Kevin stalls up on the inside, gets Markland in behind him. Great start by Kristoffersson. Hal, that was a super early decision from him, and I think that's a great move.
It was a brilliant move, wasn't it? A little unfair on Kevin Hansen this, given that Johan and Anton have been driving all weekend in Supercar. These cars are so equal, and all those little differences can add up, can't they? Kevin working away at the wheel there, under big pressure though.
Dry conditions. I mean, we did a little bit of drizzle earlier on. There you can see that's Oliver Eriksson. You've got Marcus Cronum on the right, who admitted to us earlier on today in the studio. If you missed the studio interview with Marcus earlier, go and find it on YouTube. He was pretty hilarious about his spotting skills. What was it, Hal?
I think Oliver's taken it on board there, hasn't he? Because I don't like it, he said.
Yeah, I don't want to do it. So that's Sebastian Eriksson and Timmy Hansen. Great to see the drive. I mean, some of these drivers, Hal, are really experienced at spotting, and some of them not quite so much.
Yeah, Sebastian Eriksson, very experienced. Timmy Hansen's also done his fair share for the Hansen Junior team, Yellow Squad. So they're taking it very seriously, aren't they?
Markland rides up the curb on the inside line. This is probably our tightest, best race so far. Drivers haven't done what we thought they might. Andreas was so nervous, particularly about we had Oliver and Kevin in the same race at one point in separate cars, and I think he was a little bit worried about whether or not they were going to end up doing some panel crunching. He did say that anything they break, they're going to have to fix themselves. Christopherson, though, going really well behind and closing them down, I think.
Yes, yeah. Christopherson's really smooth style suits these cars, doesn't it? It's all about carrying the momentum, not getting on the throttle too early because they've got so much torque. It's so easy to get sideways too early. Oliver on the radio to Kevin Hansen.
Be a bit more traditional here in terms of the way these guys are doing it. Into the Joker. So Markman's gone Joker. This will be to cover Christopherson. I think it's too late. Markman's got his head around this car nicely, though. Look at that. Carries good pace through the Joker lap. So much drier now. Christopherson's got him, though.
Markman's one of the most underrated drivers in the supercar field, in my opinion. There's Marcus, not really contributing to Oliver Ericsson's spotting.
He's got his arms nicely folded, but that's about it, isn't he?
Telepathic, maybe.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Down the hill, Kevin Hansen. It's one lap to go at the end of this. I think Markman came pretty close to the barrier there. There's nothing missing from the side of the car.
They've really graded that bump, haven't they, as they come down the loose section earlier in the weekend, and earlier today there was a big lip there going onto the tarmac, and now it's nice and smooth. Kevin Hansen's going to have to Joker this time around.
So Kevin's going to go Joker. Watch for Johan Christopherson in P2. He's going to anchor that car up on the inside line. This could be close at the merge. I think it's going to go the way of Johan, but it's going to be fairly tight. All side by side. Johan just gets it. Kevin Hansen clatters into the world champion, a bit like he clattered into his brother here. Best race I've ever seen between the two Hansens was here at Höljes in the two Peugeots. And they properly went to work on each other, much, I'm sure, to the disgust of Kenneth, who was in charge at the time. But it is Johan Christopherson who's come out in front. Baccarat and Ericsson there, not Kevin Ericsson, not looking quite so. But that is the closest race we've had in these machines. I think if you've got any doubts as to whether or not the racing's going to be any good, it definitely is. Bit twitchy on the jump landing, round the left-hander though. It is Christopherson who takes the flag from Hansen and Markman. They are that close together. 1.079 between P1 and P3, just over a second, and that was a great race. Christopherson takes it from Kevin Hansen and Anton Markman. That was Heat 5. The points up to that point, Christopherson's team, his lowest points wins, and they were 1 point ahead of the next best squad.
Well, Timmy, Sebastian, a great win for you there, and for Johan, of course, in the car. It was a good strategy for him to go Joker. You called that, Sebastian?
No, he did that himself. It's hard to call in the first lap because it's always a bit messy, but it was the right choice. He said on the radio that he thought he would be more clear because I think was it Kevin that was second?
Yeah, we also thought it would be more clear. He had 2 second gap, and that should normally be, but Kevin must have done a great Joker, and they came out close. But for our team, it was good. So I think we're leading now ahead of the last race.
I think you are. And for once, Timmy, you're actually racing seemingly against your brother. How's that?
Yeah, it's like both mad and happy about his performance now. Like, he did a great outside move in turn 1. It's like, wow, well done, but shit, you know?
Team Hansen has been split. You heard it here first. Thanks very much, guys. Good luck for the next race.
Thank you. Thank you.
Who doesn't want to see Timmy Hansen and Kevin Hansen split up into 2 separate teams? Because I want to see it because they race so hard, the pair of them. Great racing from RX2E. Chip Pankow, the car that we saw in the background outside, has a bit more power, I think, than the RX2E, doesn't it? I know that, again, there's a few details yet to be revealed, but it's a bit of a weapon.
Are great. I mean, that's they're RX2Es and they're going almost as fast as supercars. And what an epic battle those guys put on.
And the FC1, though, is going to be faster than the supercar, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be a lot faster. I mean, talking 0 to 60 mile an hour, 0 to 100 kph, under 2 seconds, probably 1.5 seconds. It's going to be pretty epic. I think the only thing that it's going to be limited by is wheel spin.
Okay, so yeah, how much traction can you get? And I think with the kind of power outputs I've been hearing people talk about, yeah, it's going to be a heavy right foot, not necessarily going to be needed. So really looking forward to seeing that machine in action. It's heading for some shakedown tests on chassis, more drivetrain stuff coming later on in the year. And if you follow Nitro Rallycross's social media accounts, you'll be able to keep up with the development of the FC1. Of course, Nitro Rallycross running internal combustion this year. And you'll see the FC1 appearing. You're going to see some of the top drivers that take part here in Nordic head across to the States, but don't panic. They will be coming back to Europe the following year. We're not taking them away from you. We're aiming to bring Nitro Rallycross all around the world. Long old hold here. Ericsson and Anderson on the front row. I was starting to wonder if the start was actually going to go there. So Ericsson off the line with a good start. Anderson too. In the background, you can see Alex Gustafsson hasn't had the best start, but he's on the inside of the guys on row 2. Side by side into the first corner. Ooh, a couple of people late joker decisions, but all tidy. And in fact, the P5 car making a last-minute decision to stay on the standard lap, but it's Erik Nielsen who leads.
Great start from Nielsen, very composed through the first couple of corners. These guys love sitting on the limiter the moment the marshals leave the grid, don't they? It makes the start feel like an ever so long process. Lucas Anderson, how good was he in Denmark? And he's got the hammer down, chasing Erik Nielsen now. He really needs to get on the front row if he wants to win this final. Erik Nielsen, I think we've got to take our hats off to him. How, you know, all these guys are aged between, guys and girls, aged between 11 and 14, I believe. There might, have we got a 15-year-old? I don't think we have at this one, maybe one. But Erik Nielsen, 3 wins from 4 sessions in the most tricky conditions, but about to lose out here. Lucas Anderson has gone alongside. He's going to have the inside line up at turn 1, chucking the car in over the crest. And sure enough, back onto them is Alex Gustafsson, who's with them. So these 3 are 3 super young hot shoes. Chip Pankow, this is, how have you felt about this? This is so young.
Yeah, I mean, they're so young, and I mean, I can't wait to see these guys coming up in Nitro someday. I mean, it's just the talent is there. Think about how good they're going to be in 5-6 years.
It's terrifying for the. We've had a few of the older drivers in here, haven't we? Looking at them going, yeah, I think they're going to. Was it Sebastian Eriksson who said, yeah, there'll be a point at which I'm going to have to retire, basically, and he now thinks it could be within 5 years. How we've been saying the same thing.
We have, yeah, and Lucas Anderson, one of the hot shots of the championship, is all over Erik Nielsen for the lead of this race. Got upside, got up the inside through the long left-hand final corner on the previous lap. Doesn't quite have the run on Nielsen this time around. These vehicles are so equal, aren't they? So the small inputs made by the driver make such a massive difference. And this race is all about position, isn't it? So really, Lucas Anderson wants to be at the front.
Joker
as Gustafsson takes the joker.
So Gustafsson's gone joker. Going to come back on the standard lap now and squeeze in. Hattenmar is going to end up in P4, having not jokers. That's a good move by Gustafsson. For me, how that pretty much guarantees, obviously we've got a couple of laps to go, but that pretty much guarantees that spot in the semi-final. Hattenmar and Martin's yet to joker behind. Lunderlander in the purple buggy has. Martin hasn't and is at the back of the pack. Look how close it is up front, though. Nielsen versus Anderson. Anderson is the championship leader with 2 wins in Denmark. Nielsen hasn't had a win this season.
I think Anderson has to joker now. As long as they've got a reasonable gap to Gustafsson, he needs to try and cover off Gustafsson. He can't afford to end up on the 3rd row of the grid for the final. I think he's got enough, but he needs to stop being held up by Nielsen now. Nielsen's done exactly the right thing and covered him off.
Good tactic. You could see how much Anderson missed the apex by, and his Nielsen spotters have mugged him there by sending him in front. He was going to go, definitely.
Meanwhile, Gustafsson lost a heap of time in turn 2, got way too sideways, lost the momentum. Because of the low RPM and the relatively low power of these machines, you have to be tidy. Got a bit too scruffy there, lost momentum, and he hasn't managed to close that gap.
I'm staggered how quick Nielsen's joker lap was there. He barely looks a few car lengths back, so coming down the hill now. Here is Anderson, going to have to try and hold on. Listen to the limiter as he comes up over towards the jump. Have a listen in. You just hear it as it comes over the crest. He gets a little bit of air behind Nielsen, not quite so much. This then for the win and for the front row in the final. Into the joker lap now will go Anderson. Nielsen, the TQ man, will want to hold on. Got to get anchored up, nicely turned into turn 2. Anderson slides the car in sideways. Nielsen on the inside line, going to find the traction. Look at the speed they can carry through. The cars are just that little bit narrower. I think it's going to be enough. It is, and Nielsen comes out in front of Anderson. Couple of car lengths. Well done.
You called it, Andrew. The joker lap from Nielsen was absolutely spot on, wasn't it? And Anderson just got a little bit too much rotation before the second apex in the joker lap, and you lose so much of your momentum on the exit that's what really made the difference.
Gustafsson there, so we've got Lucas Anderson, who's championship leader, Gustafsson, who's P2 in the championship. Both those are going through, and where have we got Nielsen, Nielsen's down in 6th in the championship, 2nd at Höljes the other day, so Nielsen's having a much better weekend here, but we'll want to go one better. This is a step towards its semi-final win for Nielsen. Moves across to cover off the outside line right the way to the flag, but it's a great drive. Chip, what's the score in the States with things like Crosscar? I mean, I know I've seen things like Sierra cars and stuff, but there's a big scene for UTVs generally, isn't there, side-by-sides? And you know, there's a lot of junior motorsport over there too. Is there anything quite like this?
Not quite like this. It's starting, but there is a massive scene for side-by-sides and racers. And the off-road stuff in the desert, they'll get 1,000 entries.
It's incredible.
And so, you know, someday I'd love to see that crossover onto some rallycross tracks.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, that's going to be the advantage, or one of the advantages of Nitro Rallycross, is we are going to see permanent tracks in the United States, which gives you a chance to grow the sport, not necessarily for Nitro to grow it, but for people to practice. If there's nowhere to practice, you've had some great tracks over the years, but if they're not there the following week, you can't go and do your testing.
Yeah, I mean, you know, rallycross is you know, happens here, and it's in everybody's DNA and their blood. And really, America has no rallycross tracks. So that's one of the things we're looking to do with Nitro, both here and in Europe, is kind of build epic tracks and then keep them there. So people can get out to them, get on them, we get young drivers on them, trying it out and coming up through the sport.
Yeah, sure. That will definitely, it makes it a career choice, doesn't it? We've been talking, Hal, about how a number of young drivers now will go karting, and then instead of necessarily going, oh, I'm off for a single-seater career, they're now able to go, do you know what, I'm heading towards rallycross. I think potentially with the transition to electric rallycross, which is happening around the world, maybe the manufacturers come back, or that's the hope anyway, and then the drivers have got a career path again. We need that, otherwise guys like Backer are spending their entire life looking for money.
And what this cross-car category does is sort of removes the need to go karting from such a young age. Okay, some of them start from 4 years old or something, but from the time you're 10, 11, you can be competing in a junior cross-car. You can escalate that to a cross-car, to a Supercar Lites. You know, the structure is becoming more and more in place within Rallycross.
Mikael Uito qualified P2. That was a little bit under the radar today. Yulalami on the front row, then it's Persson and Hallinan on row 2, Nordbeck and Lidman on row 3. Oh no, denied. Not what you need.
Undone all the hard work from making it onto the front row of semi-final 2.
I mean, looking at it, Hal, he had a P5, 2 P5s in fact, a P2 and a P3. Mikael Uito, but you know what I mean. It wasn't. When I say flying under the radar, we've seen some great racing, some heat race wins, but the consistency in terrible conditions. That's not taking anything away from the pace, as seen a P2 qualifier and pole in semi 2.
Yes, you often see that, don't you? That someone creeps up to the front row because the fastest guys have been affected and lost ground, and they may have gone fastest in one session, but then been really slow in the next.
Right, let's have another go at this then. Ulilami on the front row was second in the standings when we got her. Has dropped down to P3 now, behind Gustafsson and Anderson. Only 20 points off the championship lead. That's the red and yellow coloured buggy in slot number 2. Hallinan on the outside is the driver who's been handing out licorice all around the paddock, making himself very popular. Came into the commentary box the other day and looked so pleased to have met Andreas Backer, which was absolutely lovely. He really was. He was grinning from ear to ear as we called him across to stand with Andreas. Brilliant start on row 2. Ulalami goes back. Hallinan trying to come all the way around the outside. Goes from row 2 straight up into slot number 2. Ulalami's maybe gone down from P2 to P5. It is P5 and now it's P6. Disaster. And then the pole man has gone straight off to the joker. So Uito, who we know's got to do 2 jokers thanks to the jump start, has decided to do 1 immediately, Hal.
We've had a wet weekend, haven't we? But the seas have completely parted for Hallinan. That was absolutely perfect. From the second row, he made a brilliant launch, hung it round the outside. The pole sitter jokered, and he's just left with clear air up front. Fantastic.
Brilliant stuff. Laura interviewed him earlier on, Chip, and he said he wants to be a factory driver with Toyota, but you've been trying to persuade him that he needs to come across and become a Nitro Rallycross Junior.
Yeah, and bring Toyota with you.
Yeah, that's fine. And you've got some licorice as well.
Absolutely. I've had a half a bag of licorice already today. Yeah.
He's handing it out literally. His dad said, I've got kilos of it. The other lovely thing, and Chip, Hal, you'll both have a comment on this, I'm sure, it's Lowry and literally his dad, and that's it, running the car. His dad said it's been a pretty tough weekend.
Yeah, no, I love that. I mean, they come out, they're working together on the car, dad's spotting, they're doing the whole thing. It's exactly what we want to see. And, I mean, what a great thing for the two of them, you know?
Yeah, it's such a great dad-lad experience, isn't it, Hal? You know, that's fantastic.
It is, very much so. Rasmus Persson's ducked into the joke at the second opportunity, dropped to third, but crucially he's covered off those behind that only have 1 joker to do and have already done it. So he's now running 3rd overall, behind Uito, who is yet to do his 2nd joker as well. Brilliant move.
Uito, I think, could do okay here. Now, Uito's got a couple of laps. Look, we've got with 3.5 to go, basically, with the graphic at the top of your screen, side by side down the hill. That's Lidman on Ulalami. No, sorry, on Nordbeck. Nordbeck going backwards. I could only see the red roof behind the arm coat. But for me, this is about Uito and whether or not Uito can manage to joker again. He's going to have to hang on for at least one lap, Hal. But again, the P4 car runs wide. Top 3 from this go through. Hallinan going to go to the final lap. Hallinan's killing this.
He is, yeah. Uito goes now, doesn't he? So he's taking his second joker.
This might be then for a place in the final. If he can get out into P3, maybe even into P2. Uito jumped the start, got to shut the door on Ulilami, and he's done it. Absolutely fantastic. That's a Petter Solberg job. 2 jokers are still going through.
I'm impressed he's managed to do that, having jokered on lap 1, because you would expect to have got caught in traffic, but he's managed to pull it off, and now he's challenging for second.
Person. Come on, get in. So Uito's all over the back of Person now. Hallinan out front will be taking advantage of this massively. Uito's like he's got extra RPM. He hasn't, but he's coming down the hill. He's so close behind. And he's hoping Person's going to be driving on his mirrors, because Person's going to be looking at this, thinking, OK, what's going on? You know, I want to get past. Doesn't run deep. They're all being super protective of their positions. Hallinan, I think, has got enough margin, but it's not going to be easy.
No, I think he does have enough margin. You're right, Andrew. I think we're going to see him through into the joker now. Yes, we are.
So Hallinan goes joker now. That's 1 lap early, and that's just to make sure there are no mistakes. He gets a little bit deep on the first section of it. Going to try and shut the door. Moves across on Person. Person's going to be there almost. Hallinan shuts it. Now we've got a 3-way fight. They could hold on where they are and book their slots, or they can fight it out and see if they can get up a row. Uito looking up to the inside line. Uito's deep on the brakes. Hooks the wheels up in the background. Ulilami will pick up the pieces if any of these guys go off. Great move by Uito. That was firm, but I think it was on.
So do I, and he had that set up from the previous right-hander, didn't he? He carried enough momentum, ran to the outside of the circuit. That's not the ideal line if you're going to take the velodrome on a normal lap, but centred up the inside and got it done.
I thought Person was getting a little look back on the brakes there. Still another lap for these guys to battle it out. Oh, Hallinan's dad, it's funny, isn't it? Once you meet someone, you start to feel things are a bit personal. He was so chilled out when he came in earlier on. I bet he's feeling super stressed now.
I bet he is, especially with Hallinan throwing the cross car around like that. He's obviously feeling well on top of the car. Maybe not the quickest way, but it definitely covers off the inside line when you can get the side of the buggy across the curb in that way.
And just in case you haven't been watching all weekend, where have you been? Hallinan, the leader of this race, is 11 years old. The youngest driver in the field, 11 years old. He's fantastic, speaks perfect English. He's fully into his rallying. His dad was showing me pictures from him testing during the winter. I mean, yeah, he's loving this, but he's got to hold off from Uito. Uito's making a move on the dirt up the inside line. That is an incredible pass. That's worthy of a world champion. Uito, double joker, having jumped the start, has just made an absolutely killer pass on the last lap. He's going to go through to the front row of the final. That was absolutely stunning. Hallinan takes P2, Person P3. How did he pull that off?
What a move. He had such self-composure to not try hanging it round the outside. He got a good run, didn't he? And just sat on the outside. You very, very rarely see a move on the brakes there.
I'm like jaw on the floor, blown away. Chip, what about that?
You know, we used to talk about 12-year-olds and 13-year-olds racing. So no, they're not mature enough. That race we just saw, that could have been a supercar final.
It was unbelievable. That pass he put on him in the fast right-hander.
Yeah, and these kids, I mean, they're in grade 5 and grade 6. They're learning to read.
Yeah. He's not wrong, is he? He's not wrong. They're probably better at reading than me, to be fair, but that was, having jumped the start, so he's done the hard work, Hal. He's got up to P2 in qualifying. He's jumped the start. He's then kept his composure, thinking, I've just blown it. He's double joked and got himself to P3 and then makes this incredible. We might see the pass now. Makes this pass.
In the footage just then, we saw that he'd already pulled that move off once in the race on Lidman when he'd taken the joker so early. There's Hallinan returning from the joker back to the lead later on in the race.
Here.
This is the move on Person.
I mean, so
after the jokers are played out, he was actually running third. Look at this move up the inside. That's almost an exact replica of what he did on Lidman earlier in the race. I really thought he'd blown it by joking along lap 1, but he absolutely pulled it off.
I'm staggered. I'm left staggered, particularly by the move down the hill. I don't think we've ever seen anybody try to make that pass stick. People have often tried around the outside, but it's too dirty. But to go on the inside, normally the braking zone is too dirty to anchor up, to get it turned in. What a weapon. You wonder, don't you, how many people are going to be looking at this and thinking, I'll get him signed up. Osterberg, top of the table, 3 wins from the 4 sessions. Rierson, Treuterud, 1 Q1. That sees him up in P3. Nittish, P4, ahead of the factory driver for the same brand, David Matt, P5. Holberg looked brilliant in the wet. Aronen, Egerton, Svard, Anderson, Radström, Rakalainen. Remember, the top 18 go through here. So it is jeopardy all the way. You're not guaranteed of a spot just because you're quick. You're going to have to battle it out again. So Osterberg's been great. We've seen some incredible drives in all conditions. Really sends it in the dry. It was super smooth in the wet. Got Nittisch on the front row. Then it's Aronen and Anderson. Watch out for Larpety and Bendixen. Another really long hole. Great start. Rainey's Nittisch. Brilliant start on row 2 for Aronen, trying to get through side by side. Jimmy Osterberg gets squeezed by Rainey's Nittisch. Hooks the wheel up on the curb. Nittisch going to get the whole shot to the inside line. Osterberg goes joker immediately. Goes out to the outside. Bendixen spins in the background. Larpety's gone into the joker lap with Osterberg. Anderson has gone standard lap in behind, but Rainey's Nittisch with a great start.
Rain is using all of his experience from the highest level in Rallycross there. He's looked at turning in on Osterberg into the first corner, then turned back away again, hung it round the outside very calmly on the brakes and left Osterberg nowhere to go. That was years and years of competing against the best drivers in the world to pull that off.
Yeah, but also so measured, you know, so decisive.
Not
but
getting
so
flustered and just be so calm
and no
about
contact, you know, not putting a wheel in the gravel trap. I'm here, you can't close the door on me, I'm in your space, you're going to have to go somewhere else. And now he does run a little bit wide. Aronen looks for a way through. Nittisch going to shut the door. Aronen rides up the back of Nittisch's car. Contact between the two wheels. Aronen's nose goes high. Surely Aronen goes joker now. Doesn't. Looks to the inside. Passes Nittisch in turn 2. Aronen gets it turned in. Finds some grip from somewhere. In the background, it's Larpety side by side with... coming over the crest, Osterberg has managed to pull in as well, so Nittisch drops down a place. I want to see the background. Where's... OK, that's Osterberg with Larpety, and where did Anderson come in behind?
I can't quite see in that shot. Having done everything right in turn 1 on the first lap, Rainey's just left a tiny gap, didn't he, in the second corner here. And it was Aronen that fired out the inside over that curb. Another brilliant move. These semi-finals are fantastic.
Yeah, they are. Remember, only the top 2 go through, meaning you've really got to race it out. There's no settling for third here. You're either on it or you're out. Chip, absolutely brilliant racing from these guys. I know you've done a bit of racing yourself. How much do you fancy going cross car? Because they just look livid. I just want to get out there and have a go.
It looks incredible, but I'm scared to death because the things that are working and the places they're finding grip they look like the places that you're not going to find any grip at all.
Yeah, but they're just having a crack at it anyway. Osterberg coming under increasing pressure from Larpety. Is Larpety joking or not? Doesn't look like it, according to our indicators. Similar pace, but our joker indicator is showing he hasn't. Nittisch and Aronen out front. Anderson has jokered. And there's the drone chasing them round. Unbelievable footage this weekend. Go and have a look on Instagram. The big crash from Lars Anderson down that back straight, caught by the drone. Lars is okay, by the way. He's watching at home. Hey, Lars, hope you're feeling good.
Osterberg's managing to pull a little bit of a gap now on Larpety, because in the background on the previous lap he was getting oh so scruffy, and Larpety was all over him in the first couple of corners. I think Rainey's Nittisch isn't in a position to joker now because they're closing on him far too quickly. If he jokers now, he's out of it, isn't he? He needs to stay out, I think, for another lap.
Yeah, got to try and see what happens to everybody else, hasn't he? And he's going to have to joker on the last lap. He will be hoping that Larpety is obviously waiting till the last lap. He's hoping he might say take Osterberg out, and then he's laughing, isn't he? So he might as well. Obviously, he can't see that, but his spotters will be able to. I know his dad, Eyeglass, is here with him this weekend. But Andreas Backer was telling us earlier he saw Rainey's when he left, working on the car and cooking dinner for the rest of the team, and Rainey's is here and enjoying the level of racing.
He is loving his racing again. He's worked incredibly hard for years to get the budget together. He's a household name in Latvia, isn't he? And I think all credit to him for putting himself in this really competitive field and having to really dig deep, just like Johan Kristoffersen is in Supercar, in a car that's not quite as good as the others, to battle through and enjoys racing.
Yeah, good to see them all with a smile on their face and a little bit less pressure. Here we go, final lap. Now comes the pressure. Aronen, Nittisch out front. Where is Osterberg? Can Aronen hold on? Is he close enough, or is it going to be Osterberg? Larpety hasn't jokered according to our screens, but it doesn't matter to us. Osterberg's going to go through. Larpety is in P2, so now we're not sure whether Larpety's jokered or not. Aronen bashes into the back of Larpety, looks to the inside, uses the curves, going to cut back surely and try another move. Osterberg has done enough. Brilliant joker early on, having lost the lead to Rainey's Nittisch. What's going on behind him, though? What's the battle for P2? We know he's through. Where's the P2 battle? Have a look in the background. There it is. And it's Aronen. Is it Aronen? Yeah, no.
It is, yeah. Larpety's lost out big time there.
Larpety's gone backwards.
Rainey's has come out fourth, hadn't he? But no one can challenge Osterberg up front.
Osterberg going to go through. Aronen coming back. What on earth happened there? Because Larpety we saw was in P2 but hadn't jokered.
The timing screen saying he had, so maybe it was just an anomaly on the graphics.
So he had, thank you very much, which had some results handed to us up here in commentary. Fist pump for Osterberg. So something happened in the background, didn't it, which dropped Larpety in behind Aaron and took us by surprise when they came out over the crest. Good tactics from Osterberg. He's looking on it here, isn't he? Osterberg at the minute is... I have no idea where in the championship. I'll find it.
Look at Reynolds. He stays out of trouble, runs wide, calmly goes through the first corner. Osterberg was left with no alternative at all. Larpety did joker, didn't he? Went in straight behind Osterberg on lap 1. Then, fortunately for Osterberg, Anderson jokered quite early on as well. Here's the move of Aronen up the inside of Reynolds. That was pin perfect. They're so narrow, these vehicles, so you can really fit them through gaps that don't exist in other classes. And this is the joker on the last lap. Let's see if we can see what happened behind. So Reynolds is the second car in the joker here. They come out third and fourth.
So Larpety's got it here. He had jokered. We couldn't see that from our graphics, but you could see it on the timing screens. And we don't see it. So didn't see what happened to Larpety. But either way, it's Aronen who goes through. Nitish ends up in P3. 2.2 seconds between Osterberg and Aronen. That's a decent margin, isn't it? It really is. Okay, there was some battling behind him, but Osterberg lost the start, kept his head down, and came back. So that is your P1 and your P3 man through from semi-final number 1. 3 semi-finals. This one, Rierson, who's been a weapon. Mayat, the French factory driver. Eganson, Radstrom, Crepeau, and Baldins on the back row. Don't count Baldins out. Epic performance on Thursday. Baldins was P2 overall on Thursday. Rierson gets a good start on the inside line, certainly better than Mayat. Mayat's going to try and shut the door. Look at Baldins though, P6 to P2 round the outside. He'll nail that to the apex in turn 2. That gets it done. Mayat has gone in pretty much on the lock stops and the limiter into the joker. Look at the speed of Mayat through the joker. There's so much grip in there now, you can properly send it.
The track has completely changed, hasn't it? What a brilliant start from Baldins. 6th on the grid to P2 in the first couple of corners. He was brilliant in the dry on Thursday. He's under pressure now, isn't he? But he was brilliant in the dry on Thursday. Really struggled in the wet conditions of yesterday. So similar to the first couple of rounds in Denmark, where he wasn't brilliant in the slippery conditions. Now it's dry, and he's really making that work for him.
Rierson in front of Baldins. Baldins under a bit of pressure. This could well play into Rierson's hands. Rierson was P2 in the standings. P2 to Enholm when we came here, and now P2 to Patrick Hallberg after round 3. Baldin still under enormous pressure. Mayat look as joker. Now Hal is struggling to get past Radstrom. So Mayat really from the front row, I mean, still isn't out of this, but needs to start making some headway.
Mayat's in the joker window, isn't he? He's about 3 seconds off the lead at the moment, but he's caught Radstrom, and I think that's going to just hamper his cause a little bit. Rierson's nibbling away at the pace. And Baldins is under pressure from Eganson behind, isn't he? So that's slowing those two up a tiny bit. Rierson's just nudging away. I think, Mayat's going to lose out badly behind Radstrom here unless Radstrom jokes on the next lap.
Oh, mistake from Baldins, just gets a little bit deep. It's not a taxi to the apex, it's just running slightly wide. Come on, Mayat, make a fight of it. Desperate to get past Radstrom. He's going to be hoping Radstrom goes now. Watching the back, does anybody go? Yes. From P3, Eganson goes, and Radstrom doesn't. So Mayat's going to make up a place there. I guess Hal, it really comes down to whether Mayat's going to be close enough to Baldins, but I don't think he is. I think Baldins is going to get it.
Eganson joking can only possibly help me out, but I think I wouldn't have joked then if I were him, because you've just put yourself completely out of the running. From that position, I would have stayed out till the bitter end. Mayat's not all over Radstrom out of the velodrome, is he? So it's not like he's massively under pressure. He's lost a bit of momentum.
Rierson flying up over the jump. They're getting full air now there's a bit more grip.
Real indication of how dry it's got, isn't it? That they're getting a lot more air.
Mayat's made a mistake. Mayat makes a mistake, gets a little bit deep, just about holds onto it. It's, I think is it Crepeau?
It is, yeah.
Now, so Crepeau's in behind and Eganson drops back. Still no joker from the front too, and Radstrom goes to the end as well. Chip Pankow, the conditions we've seen this weekend, these guys have had to dial these cars into like wet, dry. That's really tough.
Yeah, it's amazing to see. I mean, the joker is so important here at Höljes, and it's amazing to see how much faster it's gotten. You know, and it's the joker, when it's ever changing from a grip level, it's such a technical little thing, and you see it catch so many people out. But now they really can send it through the joker. It's pretty awesome to watch.
Yeah, certainly. They're not losing much time at all. We've seen first lap jokers almost bring you back into the pack. If there's a bit of a squabble in turn 2, you could, in theory, if you're in front of the pack, go joker early and come out in a really strong position. Rierson Baldins. I'm looking back for the gap back to Mayat at the minute, and it is, what is it? Come on, 5.2 it says on here. I think that could be enough for them both. They both go in. So Riesen's gone in, Baldin's gone in. Watch for Mayat coming up over the crest now versus Baldins in the orange and black coming from the Joker lap. Baldins moves across and shuts the door. Mayat's under loads of pressure from fellow Frenchman Crepeau as they come through the left and the right. From the back row of the grid, and they're going to fight. You see the spin in the background for Eganson goes round. Radstrom's out. Egan's just starting it out now, just doing a ton of donuts. So gold meds for send to Eganson at the back of the pack if you're out. In fact, someone sent me on Twitter, they've made the stamp, the gold stamp medal, and they've sent it to us. I think we might have to give it to Eganson for donuts and styling out the mistake. But Riessen from the pole with a brilliant drive. But Baldins from the back row, yes please, through to the final. And could Baldins get a double podium here?
What a brilliant recovery from him, having really struggled in the wet conditions of qualifying.
17th, Hal, yeah.
This concept of 3 semi-finals, he would have been out with a normal 2 semi-final scenario. So the 3 semi-final situation has allowed him to qualify low and get back in. Watch his start. Look at the traction he gets off the line.
That's bonkers. He's gone from P6 to P2 before he gets here. He's round the outside of it, and at this point, you know he's nailed it on. He's just got to stop it on the apex. I love Riesen's driving style. That rotation that he gets on to get the car turned in so early doesn't maybe work quite so well in the wet. I think Osterberg adapted really well. Osterberg drives the same as Riesen in the dry hull, but in the wet he seems to tidy it up and just get smooth.
Osterberg's been driving that chassis for a couple of years, hasn't he? Whereas this chassis is new to Riesen this year. They did 1 day of testing here in Höljes in mixed conditions, but that was snow, so it's nothing like driving in the dry.
Yes, please. Donuts all round. Over the line. Great job, Riesen. Baldins, though, from P6. Most of that work was done in the first 150 metres. Do you know what? Actually, most of it was done in the first 8 metres off the start grid because he'd got about 4 cars before he'd even crossed the front line. Absolutely amazing. Riesen takes it from Ronalds Baldins. Mayat, Crepeau, Radstrom, Eganson go no further in round 4. Hoping we'll see as many of these guys as possible make the trip up to Finland and Ouluzone in 3 weeks' time. Meanwhile, semi-final number 3. You can have 3 semi-finals. That's how we roll. Treuterud, Hallberg, Svard, Räikkönen, Andersen and Hukar at the back. Hukar was our sensation in Denmark, but has tied it up. Hallberg, for me, has been the one who's had a bit of an up-and-down week, and the cars looked absolutely epic. Certainly in wet conditions, but traffic hadn't quite gone the right way. Treuterud on the pole had won one of the sessions, but it's a great start from row 2 for Svard, getting in between him and Räikkönen in the orange and yellow buggy. Hallberg in front. Not too much carnage in the background. Anderson is, I think, dropping a wheel off into the dirt, and Svard has gone straight into the joke lap. Räikkönen over the jump, but out front it's Hallberg, Hal.
Svard made a great initial launch, didn't he? Then it didn't all quite come off in the first couple of corners. Hukar also made a great start from the back of the grid, the same slot that Baldins had made a great launch from in the previous race. Maybe the back of the grid hasn't been quite so disrupted by the changing weather conditions. Of course, that row hasn't been used until the final stages. The Swedish Championship stages, the final stage of the Swedish Championship rounds went just before we started this broadcast. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out in the other classes. Meanwhile, Hallberg, little lock-up on the brakes coming into the final corner, but he's pulled a few car lengths margin. That's so important with being able to keep your head down and eyes forward.
Hallberg, Riesen and Enholm all had double podiums down in Denmark, but Enholm hasn't come here, so we've got Riesen and Hallberg. Osterberg, who was in P4, moved up to P3 in the standings. Would have gained another couple of points by taking the TQ here, and now he's won his semi-final. Remember the points during qualifying, points in the semi as well. So it's important here for Hallberg to get a good result. Hallberg at the minute is leading the championship. It was by 5 points from Riesen.
Hukar's dropped himself out of the lead battle by joking on the second lap. Svard, as they last crossed the finish line almost a lap ago now, was 3.8 behind, so he needs to pull his finger out a little bit, although he has done on his lap. Visually, he's closer to the leading pair. We'll see what the gap is as they cross the line this time around.
What are you seeing, Hal?
We're seeing the timing screen updating in front of me, and he's dropped another second, so he's that's Treuterud, sorry, Jokering now. That's Andreas Backerud's compatriot Jokering. Svard's got him. Svard nearly needs to pull another second out of this as Streuter is under big pressure, isn't he?
How much of it? Streuter was pretty well. Okay, the curb's part of the track, how the rule is one wheel on, and he was fully up above the curbs. And Bakkerud was in here earlier and he goes, oh wow, they're really pushing, and indicated the same. Johan Kristoffersen said the same thing. His mud flap's going wild at the back, the tyre's okay. Johan said if you're up north of the curb, you're really taking risks. He said there's time to be gained, but it's a gamble at that point.
But you put all your cards on the table in the semi-final, don't you? If there's a time to push, it's right now, because only the top two go through to the final. There's no point in holding back.
No, absolutely not. Into the Joker goes Räikkönen in the super luminous coloured buggy, covering off Svard in the background. This could be for a place in the final. Got to shut the door. Svard's going to nearly be there. Räikkönen gets it done. Svard will know now is the time to pile the pressure on. See if he can make a move. Up into the velodrome, up and over the crest. He'll drop down now and look to the inside line, surely. Look at that, puffs of smoke from the wheels. You can see the dust flying up as well inside. Svard can't quite find enough grip to get past Räikkönen. Hallberg, I think, has got this one in the bag, but still going to need a tidy Joker.
Svard picked the throttle up just a little bit early there, got the rear sliding. He's all over the back now, though, isn't he? And I think he's going to try and move up into the last corner. Brilliant defensive positioning from Räikkönen, who just sat the car just enough on the inside to cover the inside there. And again on the exit, brilliant drive this to keep the position when the trouble is they're just going to lose so much pace. I think the Hallberg must be in the Joker now, out of shot.
Where is he? Come on, Hallberg's miles in front. He's massively checked out. So Hallberg's through. Räikkönen is under enormous pressure. Everybody behind him knows. Look, I tell you what, if you're in P4, you're watching to see if Svard does something silly and takes the two of them out. Again, the dust flies up. Svard could not be closer. He's piling it on. Räikkönen just keeping it tidy on the inside line. Watch for a pass down the hill. We saw a brilliant pass down here for the juniors. Gonna have a look anyway. Oh, not quite close enough. They're going that little bit more quickly. He might have one more look on the brakes on the inside, or is he going to go outside? He goes outside line. Räikkönen on the curb on the inside. Svard sending it round the outside on the lock stops, but the dirt drops him back. He's going to end up P4. Räikkönen gets P2. What a brilliant semi-final. Racing right the way to the line. Hallberg destroyed them, but Räikkönen, brilliant defensive drive there, and I have to say yes to Svard for the last corner attempt.
So nearly got it done, and that was all done on the entry to the velodrome by being a little bit tidier, carried the momentum. I really think he probably could have sunk it up the inside into the right-hander, because all that was going to happen is they were both going to run wide anyway. On the last lap of the semi-final, I think I would have,
as well have had
with
a go.
that momentum, I would have gone
because
for it.
The thing is, if you lose out, okay, let's say he loses out and Räikkönen loses out, as long as he doesn't take him out, okay, you haven't made it, he hasn't made it, you might as well have a crack at it, mightn't you?
But he hasn't made it anyway, so it's worth the risk, isn't it?
Yeah, so you have a look. We're all being influenced here by a wonderful 11-year-old who made an insane pass on the inside of the corner that nobody has ever passed on before. And we're like, well, that's possible now. If he can do it, anyone can do it. But it's not the case. He's obviously a very talented kid. Look at that. Turn one, and basically, Hal, that's the two that went through. But it was not that simple, particularly for Räikkönen.
Hallberg was really quick last year, wasn't he? Got a lot of qualifying wins under his belt, but it never went quite right for him. This semi-final, he just absolutely smashed it, didn't he? And I think he can be a threat later in the season.
Chip Hankow, just before we move on to a bit more racing, there's a bit of a special relationship, isn't there, between RallyX Nordic and Nitro Rallycross?
Yeah, we work together, and when we're looking at calendars and everything, and it's we like to see kind of all the grassroots that's here, and we invite those people to get up and move up in the scales amongst Rallycross, and someday come into Nitro.
Okay, and you've come over here, of course. We're heading across to the States for 5 events this year. But I think some of the European fans think, well, that's cool, but I'm over here in Europe. But Nitro has plans to come here and elsewhere as well.
Yeah, we're coming to Europe, and specifically we're coming to the Nordics. I mean, this is kind of the home of Rallycross, and we're coming to Sweden. We're coming to Finland, and potentially some other places as well. So Europe is a very big part of what we're doing, and that'll be in 2022. At least 4 European runs in 2022.
Okay, there you go. You'll be able to come see Nitro Rallycross in person. Or, of course, you can take a holiday to the States. Highly recommended. Tommy Howman with the TQ spot, 3 qualifying session wins. He's been absolutely brilliant. Niels Andersen very nearly took the win on Thursday in round 3. Linus Ossund is racing at home. Simon Olafsson has just had a return to form in Q4. And and Martin Enlund, then Sogqvist and Eklev, Janssen, Kasper Janssen, another one who's going to be getting a medal for Stennis. Chip Pankow, thanks so much, mate. You're staying, I know, for a little while to do some investigations around Europe, and then we wish you a safe journey home. You've had a good time at Höljes?
Oh, it's been great. It's been great. Thanks so much for having me and for your hospitality, and the racing's been awesome.
Thanks, Chip. Take care, mate. We'll catch up with you soon. Chip Pankow from Nitro Rallycross, thank you for joining us and letting us in on a few of the plans for the future. Short-term plans for these guys. What's going to happen in the next 100 metres? Tommy Howman, Linus Ossen. Howman with a brilliant start. Amazing start by Enlund on row 2. Maybe got halfway up the inside already. All the way up the inside now. Oh, on the outside, it's a Neklev. Howman going 3 aside. Surely got to go Joker from lap 1. He doesn't, he goes standard lap. So Enlund's gone out to the Joker. And Tommy Howman there somehow ended up outside a car, Hal. That was pretty hectic.
It was hectic. I think that was rather instigated by Enlund, shoving it up the inside or getting a good start and firing up the inside and causing a bit of a kerfuffle in turn 1. Linus Ossen's really struggled for the first 3 rounds, I think, relative to where we expected him to be. Now he's got a golden opportunity to get on the front row of the final. 3
cars, remember, go through from each of the semi-finals here. There are only 2 semis, more traditional format because the field's that little bit smaller. So with Crosscar, they like to give more people the opportunity to go up. We can understand that. We can buy into that. I wonder what Howman's going to do from here, Hal. We've been so impressed, and I know you've said some other people in the paddock. Some people said that they believe that some of it is actually down to his simulating. He does a lot of esports.
Yeah, and he's so clean and tidy. You can see it there. Linus Ossen actually lost a couple of attempts into turn 2, ran a bit too wide. Holman was absolutely on the money. Yeah, he does a lot of iRacing, and the slippery conditions, I think, really play to his advantage in the wet because they're so used to driving like that in the iRacing game.
And is it just consistency and repetition?
I think it's also the feeling, isn't it? It's just the dynamics of iRacing and how that works over the dynamics of driving a lights car. You know, by chance, you know, that driving a Subaru or whatever on the iRacing Rallycross platform can be similar to driving a Supercar Lites machine. They're very different, aren't they? But yeah, by chance they're similar, and he's making it work for him.
He's done RX Academy in the past. This is his first season in an all-wheel drive, four-wheel drive lights car. In P2 here, these guys, I think, are going to try and gap. They've got to watch for Enlund, haven't they, who at the minute is stuck behind a Neklev. But if Enlund gets released, then it's do you start to cover off the people behind you, because Enlund is quick enough to be a problem.
He is. Remember that both the leader, Linus Osland, and Annaclev are running out of the OMSE stable. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're just leaving Annaclev out of the Joker, so that he's just holding Enlund back a little bit. You know, not to be a roadblock, but just, you know, he's a little out of it anyway. He hasn't got the pace of the top 3 at the moment, so leave him out, try and create a little bit of a gap so that when Linus Osland's Joker's later on, he's got that margin to play with.
Through the long left-hander again. Are we going to see a Joker this time from Janssen or a Neklev? And in fact, yeah, I mean, Enlund's dropped back a little bit, meaning that potentially a Neklev's not holding him up. And Holman goes Joker, so Tommy Howman's gone Joker now. Watch for Enlund on the inside line. Howman's going to try and come out in front of Enlund. I reckon he'll do it. He will. And that was perfect, because the Neklev released him. Enlund was a little way back anyway. He slots in front of Foss. Well done.
That was important, wasn't it? And now Holman can get the hammer down for the next lap or so to see if he can close the margin on Linus Osland ahead.
Got a little bit wide there, Hal, unusually wide for Howman. You don't see the dust fly up there unless you've missed the curb on the inside. It won't be too much of a disappointment. He's going to get Janssen back, but he'd like to get Osland too, wouldn't he?
We haven't seen him under this sort of pressure so far in this round 4 across the two days of this weekend, have we? And now we're going to see Linus Osland and Martin Janssen head for the Joker lap on this final tour.
Round turn 1, Osland's going to go in. Here we go, Janssen as well. Watch for Howman on the inside line. Oh, Janssen's gone in, absolutely lit in P2. Out from the turn. I don't think Osland's got enough pace. Howman's going to be there. Howman's got him done in 1 lap. Rides the curve on the inside line, pushes Osland wide. 1 lap. That was all he needed. Oh, and Janssen's got through too, as he knows. That's Janssen and Enlund battling in the background. What a great drive there by Howman.
I think Enlund might have a rear puncture or broken suspension because the car's all over the place. But yeah, you're right, Andrew. What a drive from Howman. What a lap from Howman to make the difference.
And he wasn't doing laps like that a moment ago. He was struggling to close the gap down to the leader. But your TQ man, Tommy Howman, who won 3 qualifying sessions. He's been on the podium at every round. He's got 2 wins already. And he crosses the line, the TQ man, to go to pole in the final. P2 goes to Osland Racing at home. P3 to Martin Janssen.
And that's a hammer blow to Osland, isn't it? Having had the lead, having gained the lead in the first couple of corners, drove a good race, but just didn't have the pace of Hellman when it really mattered, and that, psychologically that'll affect him going into the final.
Have a look at the start for us, Hal, and see what happened, because to me, Hellman had the inside line here. We saw the brilliant start from Enland, but Hellman's got it here for me. But then he just gets, Austin stays in it, doesn't he, round the outside, forcing Hellman wide. I thought Hellman might go joker there, and I think he could have done. Yeah,
I think he could have done as well. In the event, clever to stay out. I actually think that first corner scenario, like I said in the first time around, was instigated by Enland having his nose up the inside, which meant that Linus Austin couldn't move across, and actually, in the event, forced Hellman out and had to go, where he could have been in a position to joker.
A chain reaction really from the row 2 grid start, which meant that he got through. Austin's joker wasn't bad. I mean, they were side by side, but right of way goes to the standard lap. He's 80%, 20% in front. He's certainly 100% alongside.
Austin was lucky no one was closer behind as well, wasn't he? Because he got forced so wide there that he could easily have been swallowed up had he been more in the traffic.
Hellman, Osland, Jonsson going through. Enland, Anetclev and Foss, P4, 5 and 6. Whew. Semi-final 2's got some stuff to live up to, hasn't it? Nils Andersson, Simon Olofsson on the front row. Andersson was P2 in qualifying. He was P2 on Thursday. Olofsson won the first round, but has had his form come back here. Row 2 is Sokvist and Kasper Janssen, who's been ever improving and impressing, and on the back row, Expert and Oskarsson. Great start, Olofsson on the front row. Andersson equal to it though. Kasper Janssen's got a good start, might move across to the inside line. Andersson's going to get there. Janssen's looking for a way through. Olofsson holds to the inside line. Oh, I thought he was going to get collected there from behind by Oskarsson. Kasper Janssen's gone joker immediately. Good move, I think.
Nils Andersson run by the family friend team in the Kristoffersson Motorsport Camp this year, and if Johan Kristoffersson had been in that car, you wouldn't have been as surprised with exactly the same move. Just clipping the curb on the inside. Randy forced Olofsson that bit wide, which meant he couldn't go around the outside, and look, it's paid off now, hasn't he? Putting car lengths on him going down the hill.
You've got to have a good head on you to pull that move, because if you've got too much lock on, Hal, and you touch wheels, you can break steering straight away. It's almost a case of having the kahunas to keep the steering straight and drive through turn 1 offline. If you keep the steering straight, you're going to force them wide without breaking the car, but it's not easy.
Yeah, and that only comes with experience, doesn't it? Because it's such a blind crest going through the first corner here that you need to know where to place the car without actually being able to see the road. And he's pulling a good gap now, Andersson, isn't he?
He is, and Kasper Janssen is on the back of this train. The green and black car in the background. He's looking for a place through, and at the minute, Hal, he's definitely got P3. I'd say he could potentially get Olofsson. It's going to depend what happens with the cars in front of him. He really could do with Sjokkvist or Oskarsson getting out of the way and see if he can get his head down and close the gap a little bit more.
Olofsson's now managed to gap Oskarsson a bit, hasn't he? And that'll only help him in chasing down Nils Andersson. In fact, I think he's closed the gap a little bit, visually at least, since the last time around. This is harming Kasper Janssen, to be stuck at the back of this train, but at least he's definitely going to gain at least 2 places, like you say.
Olofsson can't quite match the pace of Andersson. I'd love to know if Andersson's able to match the pace of Tommy Hellman. Hellman was so good in the wet. Andersson, where's Andersson been? Yeah, I mean, he's been top 3 all weekend.
Sokvist jokers, so that gets him out of the way for Janssen. Oskarsson's next in line and yet to joker.
Nils Andersson looking super calm up front. Olofsson, I think, will be pleased to get through to the final, Hal. Say after the semi-final last time in Nielsen, went out with that broken belt, and then got a wasn't on the podium last time. I'm trying to see where Olofsson was. Olofsson went out in the semis, yeah. And yeah, he retired in the first lap of semi-finals. So he's had 2 bad semi-finals, Olofsson. I'm not saying he can't keep up with Nielsen, but Andersson, I wonder if he might just be willing to take that result and just get through to the final.
He went fastest in Q4 earlier on today, didn't he? And that'll have given him a bit of a confidence boost. Now he goes into the joker with a lap to go.
Well, I wonder if that's the cover off Kasper Janssen behind or not. Oskarsson goes over the jump. I think it is. He's going to... Oh, and he hits the wall! Oh, Olofsson sideways. Kasper Janssen avoids him. Not sure if the rear left's damaged or not on Olofsson's car. Watch him come over the crest and round. We need to see him from the front, see if the rear left is hanging on or not. I think it is. I think Olofsson might have got away with that. Kasper Janssen goes high-low, trying to find a way through, kicks up the dust in the background.
You know what? Actually, I think clipping the wall and firing the car over to the left actually got him the position, because if they'd had a drag race to the next corner, I don't think he was going to do it. But Janssen had to get out of the throttle because there was a car sideways in front of him. Olofsson collected it all up and took the position. Brilliant, you couldn't plan that.
He's done it like a bad snowbank lean. You know when you lean on it too hard and it pinches the nose back in. Luckily for him, the bank, or in this case the Armco, ended just before he wanted to merge. In goes your leader, Niels Andersen. Oskarsson goes in 2. Top 3 are going to go through. So this is Oskarsson versus Janssen. I think Janssen's got it. He has indeed. Great drive by Niels Andersen out front. Oskarsson might try and make a move on Janssen on this last lap. Comes out, going to have a look on the inside line. Not going to be able to get it done there.
So easy to get on the throttle too early coming out of that right-hander and force the car out wide, and you just lose all the momentum going up to the velodrome where you're so close and you get gapped and then you can't get it back.
I'm going to fire up Dirt Rally when I get home. I'm roasting to do some laps of Höljes now, I've got to say. Now I'm seeing all these pro tips, you know, inside line, staying off the gas that bit longer. Andersen, pro tips all the way. Brilliant drive to go P1. P2 is Olofsson. And P3, Kasper Janssen. So front row go through and Janssen from P4. In semi-final 1, it was the front row and Jonsson from P5. So Jonsson with the biggest gains here in semi-final stages. Off the line. So look at Kasper Janssen, green and black. And Niels Andersen, Hal, you said, I mean, he was actually clearly in front, wasn't he? He didn't have to run the pack too deep himself. I thought there that Oskarsson was going to pick up the train on the brakes into turn 2.
He didn't have to run. Niels Andersen didn't have to run the pack deep, but it's the safest thing to do. Look at the brake lights in the back. He'd come off the brakes, let the car roll on, and then got back on the brakes again. Very composed, just like we would have seen Kristoffersson do, as I said before. I think this is a really good drive from Olofsson as well. Sometimes we see him lose his head in this scenario, but he actually delivered a good performance despite this barrier clip. Look, Janssen's had to get on the brakes to avoid him. That's what got in the position. Fantastic.
I wonder if Janssen were feeling a bit more ruthless, if he might just have driven through him. Not literally, but he could have.
Such a risk though, because you don't know what's going to happen to end up.
No, you don't know where you're going to end up, whether you're going to damage the car. Janssen in maximum attack mode. Niels Andersen takes semi-final number 2 in lights from Olofsson and Kasper Janssen, completing our lineup for the final alongside Houman on the pole, Osland and Martin Jonsson from semi-final 1. Houman versus Andersen, that is tasty prospect indeed, because they were P1 and P2 on Thursday in round 3. Intermediate standings for Supercar. This is how they qualified. Pretty dominant performance by Nicholas Gronholm with 2 wins from the 4 sessions. Kristoffersson in P2 didn't win a session. Anton Markland won Q4. Laura told him, he said, oh, that's nice. Christian Savo ended up in P4. Fraser McConnell won Q1. Brilliant drive. McConnell's been great this weekend. Look at the 28-pointer though in Q3. That was a retirement for him, and it sees him further down the grid than he'd like to be. Sondra Evgen, Philip German, Enzo Eid up in P8. Backrud, Hedstrom, Michalak and Harpermäki. Harpermäki and Backrud are both running electric rallycross cars from Stard. First time at international level they've been able to race alongside the internal combustion machines. So Gronholm from the pole, Markland alongside. McConnell really needs to get, well, obviously needs to be top 3 if he wants to go through, but he'll want to get past at least one of them if he can, give himself a chance in the final. Ready to race light, going to go out. Watch for the green. Oh, McConnell has to dip the clutch. Disaster. Backward flies past and goes down in P5. Instant Gronholm's destroyed them on the run to the first corner. German comes around the outside, and Markland now. Who's going to go Joker? Markland goes. Fraser McConnell goes too. I think it's a good move by McConnell from P6 after a bad start. Backwards up in P4 in the electric start machine. Oh, good in the background there. Having a good go at the curbs. Markland was. Mixed up start there, Hal.
Backward had a great launch, but got a bit boxed in into the first corner. Markland went Joker. He did that earlier on today and made it work for him to the fastest time. McConnell left with very little option. I think he did exactly the right thing. The spotter won't have been involved at all there. He made that choice for himself. Follow Markland. He knows Markland's got good ultimate pace, and now they're on the back of Anders Michalak already.
They now need Michalak, don't they, to make the necessary, not mistakes, but or potentially to Joker. You know, Backrud is not going to be easy to pass, Hal, and they will know the tactics. Backrud will know what to do to try to secure a spot. If he could get the electric car through. Oh, straight into the Joker lap now. Michalak's gone. This is trying to protect his position from Markland and McConnell, but that's not going to happen.
Backwood's only racing for himself in this race, isn't he? Remember, Michalak is Markland's teammate for this event, and I expected them to move Michalak out of the way. Again, he's in no man's land there in fourth. He hasn't managed to do what he needed to do in the first corner to sacrifice his race and let Markland have some clear air to get on the back of Backwood, who we know in the races in the dry on Thursday was using his tyres really hard come the end of the races.
Now don't forget Gronholm here, you know, he won the other day round 3, but he's not doing the championship. They've come here to do a bit of testing basically, so it doesn't matter what happens with him. Backwards, sideways in the last corner. McConnell's looking up the inside of Markland. Markland in the last corner, they were struggling a little bit, and then McConnell can't get there though. But McConnell is in the championship fight, and he needs to get past Gurman. Gurman's gone now. This is going to be to try and hold a position and see if he can beat McConnell into the final. Fraser McConnell looking for a spot in the final here, and Gurman's got the door shut. Great move by Gurman, spotter crew. Oh, the nose-to-tail contact, 3 cars deep.
We were surprised that the gap Szabo slotted the Hyundai into yesterday, but that was even tighter for Gurman to slot the ex-Markland Motorsport Polo into there.
Oh, it's going to go inside. McConnell gets them both. Fraser McConnell gets them both on the traction. Must be a problem for Markland because Gurman's blasted past him too. Down the hill now, bits of car flying off in the background. How did that happen?
Nightmare for Philip Gurman. He was right up behind Markland doing nothing wrong at all. Markland has a problem and he's left with nowhere to go. Brilliant opportunistic move from McConnell to fire it up the inside of both of them.
2 of them at the same time. McConnell's heart rate now, if it was 180 before, it's just hit about 210. Into the Joker lap goes Backward. He's going to try and hold them off now. This could be a good move. Backward might slot into 3rd place here. Oh, McConnell up the inside, side by side. Backward in the deep dirt. McConnell's going to stop that, anchor it up on the inside line. Backward might go through to the final in the electric start car.
Doing a brilliant job, Andreas, isn't he? He's been so careful on the Joker mergers all weekend, but there's no time for that now, is there? Really forced himself across. Bit of contact with Fraser, but nothing untoward. They both survived, and now Andreas has just got to fend off Gurman, whatever happens to his tyres in the next lap.
What a fantastic race. Not even really for racing on track, just a little bit of carnage, a little bit of bad luck. You can see how far out in front Niklas Gronholm has just disappeared. He's gone. So Gronholm will be going into the Joker lap. Now, he could pull through, he could stop and change a wheel if he wanted to. Gronholm has absolutely smashed it.
He's so off throttle there, you could hear the anti-lag chirping away. No point in risking any penalty. Meanwhile, Fraser McConnell is on a mission. There's no lifting off for him.
No, big jump over the crest, avoids the curves on the inside line, which is important for trying to avoid a puncture. Backward now, trying to hold on for a P3 in the electric star car, get it through to the final. That would be a brilliant result, trying to see what he got the other day.
Gurman's all over the back of him going into the velodrome. Philip Gurman's known as being quite a gentle driver, not in a negative way, but meanwhile up the road, Nicholas Gronholm has absolutely checked out, barely on the throttle through the final corner to take the first semi-final victory.
Brilliant job by him. Here comes McConnell with the problems for Markland and the others. Markland goes at the inside in the background, but it's Backward who holds on. McConnell gets P2 with a great pass on 2 cars at the same time, and actually that was Michalak and Gurman, so I think an issue for Markland somewhere. Gronholm has walked that. He's absolutely walked it. He may well have saved his tyres with a performance like that. And Backward goes through. I'm looking to see where Backward was. Backward did not make the final on in round 3. He was 4th in his semi-final. So he gets the electric starred car through. I think that's an amazing result for Backward.
Yeah.
Look at this though, McConnell's decision making here, Hal. He's gone in with Markland, bang on the right decision. I think if he hadn't done that, game over, he wouldn't have made it. And championship potentially over, too many points lost.
That's so different to a year ago. He's so much more experienced now, not only in Supercar but in Rallycross in general. Markland had an awful start, and that's what caused that chain reaction. Philip Gurman drove a great race until the next couple of corners. Look, I think Markland's already got the problem here. Gurman's in the back of him. If we see the velodrome, Gurman's done nothing wrong. He's gone wide to try and get round, and McConnell's gone, thank you very much, up the inside. Gurman has a bit of contact with Markland's stricken car.
It's
brilliant
insane.
from McConnell. You have to seize those opportunities if you want to win events and championships.
He's just seeing everything, seeing a wide piece of road here as well. The merge with Backward, they both ride up over the berm on the outside of the road. You look at Gronholm, it's like a Sunday afternoon drive to get there, but that's only because of what happened behind him. He's not that much quicker, and it is not guaranteed later on in the final. 3:59.3 for Gronholm. Then we've got McConnell and Backward. Laura Winter is with Niklas Gronholm now.
Well, Niklas, I know on last Thursday, round 3, you obviously got the win, but you weren't overly happy. Are you feeling a bit better now in the car? Is it a bit more like it, what you want?
Yeah, we're getting there. It was quite okay now. The track condition is a bit different than Thursday. There's no grip outside the clean line, so you need to be very careful not to over push. I took it quite steady. So I'm expecting that I need to step it up for the final, but yeah, the car is working and yeah, clean run.
And that was a victory by some 10 seconds or so. It was a huge victory. I'd imagine in the final you're going to be up against Johan Kristoffersen. Could be a tighter one.
Yeah, it will be tighter. I got last time down the hill, Jussi was on the radio, gap to next one, 54 cars. So I was like, okay.
It was a big one, yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, Christian Sabo now on the start line for Semi 2. We'll let you go and have a watch of that one. Thanks very much, well done.
It's unusual, isn't it, for Jussi to be making jokes on the radio, but if he says it's 54 car lengths, then yeah, I think Niklas knew he had that in the bag.
Jussi probably counted it.
Yeah, it probably was genuinely 54 car lengths, exactly, 54.2. So you've got Kristoffersen, Sabo, Evjen, Eid, Hedstrand and Harpamaki.
This is the harder semi-final, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking the same thing myself. Harpamaki's had some great starts from the back, but it's mostly about the front. Kristoffersen, Sabo, Evjen and Eid. Good start, Kristoffersen, but a better start on the outside by Sabo. Shuts the door on him immediately, and up the inside line goes Sabo. Kristoffersen gets a little nudge from the rear. Sabo going to go joker straight away. Enzo Eid goes for the standard lap. Or sideways contact, that's Hedstrand getting into Evjen. Come on, Peter, he's driven straight through him, and that is ridiculous.
That is poor, isn't it? He's going to get black flag for that, but it's absolutely ruined Evjen's race for no reason whatsoever. They could have saved that and both got on with it, with these four guys squabbling up front. Kristoffersen didn't have a good start yet. Again, they've had the clutch out of that Polo every single time I've been round there today. Not quite as bad as it was earlier, but he did get away, and now he's chasing his own Sabo up front.
So Sabo, Kristoffersen, Ida and Harpamaki, and how this really now is a race for P3 between Harpamaki and Eid. Eid runs a bit deep, Harpamaki looks to the inside line but can't quite stick. Kristoffersen will want to beat Sabo. He will want to be on the front row, and he'll do anything he can to get that done, because that's his best shot at a win. And he goes joker. He knows there's no one behind. He knows what the problem's been. Hedstrand's going to come around, but he'll get out way in front of him. Harpamaki's gone on with him. Brilliant move by Tommy Kristoffersen.
Brilliant move by Kristoffersen, and they've been helped massively by Harpamaki going into the joke as well. I was wondering as they came up to the first corner if they would dare to do it, because Harpamaki might hold them up. Now we're going to see Kristoffersen get the Kristoffersen hammer down like only he can, and see if he can catch up with Sabo to say this race wins.
So for me, you don't give Kristoffersen more than one lap. Don't ever give him more than one lap. I would send Sabo on the next lap, but frequently we see teams go, no, we've got the confidence, we think we've got the lap time, so we're going to see. How ballsy are they feeling at the Granholm RX team? Are they going to send Sabo in and protect the position from Kristoffersen, who is renowned for hunting down the tents? They're not, so they think Sabo's got the pace, Hal.
Sabo's feeling really confident in his Hyundai this weekend, and Jussi Pinamaki, Marcus Gronholm, and Alexi as well, are all feeling confident with him too.
Enzo Eid's been sent in, and that's to cover off Harpamaki in the background. I think that's a good decision. That's going to slot Eid through to the final, I think, for the first time this year, Hal.
Yeah, so do I. That's great for him, isn't it? I think we're about to see Sabo. Well, Sabo needs to produce the lap of his life. If he wants a career in Supercar, the best way to start that and to start achieving at the highest level is to beat Johan Kristoffersen now. But Kristoffersen's closing fast, isn't he, I think?
Kristoffersen was in a fight like this last year in the second final in the World Championship against Matthias Ekström. We had 3 timing loops then, and we saw the battle go 10th, 10th, 2 tenths, 1 tenth, back and forth between them. Sabo and Kristoffersen, they're going to leave him out. Hal, I don't think they've got enough time.
It's 2.4, it's the final. I'm sure it's not the final lap, there's 2 to go. The gap's 2.4.
What do we think we need? Roughly that?
Yeah, I think that's come down a tenth or 2 from the previous lap. Look
at the attitude of Kristoffersen.
So hard.
You can see it.
The rear wheel cocked in the air as he clips the curb as well. You rarely see Kristoffersen on a push like this.
He told us about that curb. He said, if you're up north of that curb, you're taking risks. There's time to be gained, and he knows it.
And look at Sabo, he's on a big push as well. Pinamaki and Alexi Koskinen will be on the radio saying, we really, really need to get this done. Now look at Kristoffersen in the background.
Here we go then. Big fight for the joker lap merge. This for the win in semi-final. Number 2, Sabo has to joker this time now. Kristoffersen's been hunting him for the last 3 laps. Watch for Sabo, going to pitch it off to the left.
Sabo's lost 4 tenths.
Oh, he's lost 4 tenths on that lap, and he's not sent it in super hard. This is easily going to go Kristoffersen's way up and over the crest. No contest. 3-time world champion, takes the 3 laps. You've got to respond to him. I wouldn't leave him out there, Hal. Maybe I'm a wuss.
Nor would I, no. And I think they've obviously got great confidence in Szabo's ability, and that says great things for the future too. But
and they should have. As a team, they have to have faith in him, but I just think don't give him the chance.
Yeah, of course. I also think Szabo was very cautious through the Joker then as well, so it maybe cost himself a little bit more. I don't think that made all the difference, though.
Kristoffersson, the pole man from semi-final number 2, is going to go through to face the pole man from semi-1, Niklas Gronholm. Gronholm won the other day, on Thursday, but Kristoffersson wasn't there, so Kristoffersson will be in the final this time. Enzo Eid goes through in P3 behind Szabo, and that's Enzo Eid's first final this year, and it's a deserved result. We saw him trying round the outside earlier on, how we've seen Enzo Eid get stuck into making passes. Finally, he's had a payoff and he makes it through to the final, but great race from Kristoffersson, and really, honestly, nothing less than we'd expect.
So composed is that man that as he drives back to the paddock, just reached up and flicked the GoPro off that's pointing out by the mirror.
He's not a robot, I promise. He's one of the funniest blokes you've ever met. But the way he operates, yeah.
He didn't make a great start there, didn't he? And it's all about the fight back. Gets right up behind Szabo. Enzo Eid's in there as well. Look at Evan. He's done nothing wrong there. Edgham's shoved it up the inside and continues to stay in the throttle and rotate the car in front of you. You cannot do that and get away with it.
See, and how I very rarely call that out like I did, but I'm sorry, on this occasion, you've got to call it as you see it.
Yeah, and he's been disqualified. He was black flagged during the race, but that does nothing because that doesn't give Evan anything back.
No, I know. Well, I feel sorry for Evgen.
So do I, yeah.
And actually, Evgen, of course, is second in the standings. Evgen was on 70 points. He was 4 back from Kristoffersson. Looking at the standings here, Fraser McConnell has lost another 3 to Kristoffersson in the qualifying stages. Then Kristoffersson has won and another 1. So Fraser is was 8 points back and is probably going to be another 4 back from Kristoffersson. But Sondre Evgen, crucially, isn't going to make it through. So I reckon Fraz is going to move up to P2 in the standings right now. And it's going to come down to what happens in the final as to how close it is. Is Kristoffersson going to give himself you can't say unassailable lead, but Kristoffersson, Szabo, Eid go through, Harpmaki, Evgen out, Hedstrom excluded.
Well, Johan, we've seen absolute brilliance from you this weekend and over the course of round 3 and 4, but a lot of bad luck as well. You seem to put it all together for that performance there to head into the final.
Yeah, I mean, the mechanics has been working during the break now flat out because we have so many problems, unfortunately, but it's not any big problems, but to be fighting on this level, you need to have everything on the absolute perfect, and the start hasn't been good all day, and today I did a decent one, not enough against Szabo, but then Joker on the second lap took a massive risk going in extremely close to his rear wheel and then extremely close to the bollards, and then driving a couple of laps which was absolutely on the limit of what I can do. So I cannot do more, and let's see how it goes in the final.
Well, it paid off, and we would expect nothing less from a world champion. Niklas Gronholm won his semi-final by 54 car lengths, I think his spotter said. You're expecting a big battle with him coming up?
Yeah, I mean,
and with Szabo, of course.
I'll try to put some pressure because when he's under pressure, he's not winning by 54 car lengths.
Fighting talk. We love it. Thank you, Johan.
Thank you.
Kristoffersson is well up for a scrap, isn't he? A couple of laps on the maximum of what I can do. You don't hear him often say that, and obviously how with a few issues on the car as well. Amazing, and he won't be winning by 54 car lengths. I like the cheeky little throwdown as well. Right, we are on to RX2E. I made some notes earlier on of what the scores were, which I'm sure will be useless. Now, I had a couple of WhatsApps during the break. Apparently, one of our teams had already won this. So James from OMSE messaged me and said, shall we award double points in the final race? And I said yes. So we've changed the rules, Hal, because we didn't want this race to be over before it was over. Who have we got in this one? We've got Timmy Hansen on the pole. On the outside line is Kevin Eriksson. Kevin Eriksson has gone round the outside in Kevin Eriksson style, reminiscent of Buxter Huda. Into the Joker lap goes Timmy Hansen, and it's Marcus Gronholm, I believe, who's in P2. Yes, Marcus.
Kevin won at the Estering, didn't he, in 2016 by sending it around the outside. He's done it subsequently as well. He admits it doesn't always come off like he would like it to, but it definitely worked then, didn't it? Now he's got Marcus Gronholm, who used to drive for his father's OMSE team putting on the pressure. Marcus gets a little bit too much oversteer on the exit of the velodrome, which is only going to allow Timmy Hansen to catch up a bit. But these cars are so equal that the margin is tiny.
Look at the way Gronholm, I just love watching Gronholm drive. He's made up time. Gronholm made up time through that. Look at it, look at it. He's on the, come on, Marcus Gronholm having a look. Ericsson in front of him, Kevin Ericsson, who's on the development team for this car, and Marcus Gronholm, he's absolutely pouring it onto him.
Take nothing away from Kevin, but I would love to see Marcus win this race. That would be brilliant.
Kevin knows that. Kevin was in here earlier. You know, if you're going to get beaten by anyone, I don't know, Timothy Yanov's one you don't mind, and Marcus Gronholm's another. Some people are just, they're just those characters, aren't they? But yeah, Marcus made up most of the time. How for me, although Timmy is destroying both of them at the minute, Marcus made up most of that time in this right-hander at the bottom of the hill.
Yeah, just by being really quite aggressive in through the right-hander here. He's gone for it again. Timmy, with his super smooth understeer style approach from his single-seater days, that's paying off. Marcus is really sending it through the entry to this corner. Kevin tight on the inside, covering the line.
Marcus Gronholm on a big attack. These are the spotters, and they're superstar drivers, all of them themselves. The rules, as I say, meant that you have to be spotted by your teammates. It was 3 drivers in 3 cars. Or flicks the car one way and then the other. That's Gronholm. Did he touch the bollard there, Hal?
No, I don't think he did. We did choose Oliver Ericsson to team up with Gronholm, didn't we? To give Marcus the best chance. Not that he needs any help, but Ollie Ericsson, it would have been unfair to put him with one of the guys that's been driving all weekend as well, because he's so experienced in these cars. Ollie was delighted to win the previous race, not because he was happy, just he was relieved. He said he felt so much pressure on the grid. He's been the development driver for this concept all along, and Marcus has dropped it in the background.
Oh, Marcus Gronholm just misses the marshal post after the jump. He's in absolutely full semo. Please, can we talk to Marcus after this race? I just want to hear a Gronholm quote, you know? Something. Oh, do you remember the old one, Hal? Tell Corrado I only need 3 gears. He's only got 1 in this. I mean, maybe we'll get an amazing quote out of him again. We had some this morning.
It's like driving with something in my trousers.
Yeah. Just a legend. A legend. He was saying about how cross cars don't suit his driving style, and he's just got so many great, lovely opinions and stories. Told us this morning about how he entered a round of the Motocross World Championship on a 125cc bike. He qualified for it in Finland, was really proud to do that. So it's 2 points for the win, it's 4 for second and 6 for third. I've got in front of me, okay, what are the total points say here? Oh, there we go, checkered flag for Timmy Hansen wins, good job. What are the points on here? I'm just zooming in. Yes, that's what I had as well. So we've got 8 points was... Okay, where is it in my sea of paperwork? I've absolutely no idea. I will find it. It was 8 points compared to 11 points for the 2 chasing teams, but I'm trying to figure out which teams won.
As the Hansen, Christopherson, Sebastian, Timmy Hansen, that is.
Oh, they've won it by a mile.
It.
Yeah, they've absolutely destroyed it. They're a 3-point lead, job done.
Sebastian, we're just trying to work out the maths in the comms box, but by my reckoning, you guys have won the Super Team Challenge here with a brilliant performance there from Timmy. What were you saying on the radio? What was he saying back to you as well over the finish line?
No, it was quite a simple race for us. We lost out on the start. Kevin did a really good start from the outside, so Timmy just chose to joker first lap, and then for sure he had the best pace in the race, so he could hunt them down quite easily. So it was a safe victory for us this race. Timmy drove really well, and he was for sure happy after the finish line. He said that we did some changes on the settings that seemed to help, he said, so it's all good.
How much have you enjoyed, firstly, this sort of fun super team format, but also spotting for the likes of Johan Kristoffersen, Timmy Hansen as well?
Yeah, it's good, because normally we're competitors, and now it's a team racing together, so it's a new experience and it's fun, and I think we're a great team, and it's always fun to work with good drivers.
And it's always good to win, isn't it? Especially in a brand new car, brand new format.
Yeah, for sure. So we're the first winners in the RX2E car. So that's something to be proud of, I think.
You've made history. We'll say it here first. Crosscar Juniors are now on the track ready for their final. Thank you so much to you, Sebastian.
Thank you.
Seems quite pleased with that. Hal, I think that's fair enough. They just like winning, don't they? I don't think you'll ever find 3 teams of more competitive rallycross drivers than we just had there. I was expecting Andreas Eriksson to end up with a pile of parts, but luckily for him, it's worked out okay. Okay, we are on to junior cross car. their final. Here we go. Erik Nielsen, Uito on the front row, Anderson, Hallinen, Gustafsson and Persson. These guys are on the limiter before the Masters have been walked off the grid. Must be an unwritten rule in, maybe it's a written rule in the regulations. Good start from the pole by Erik Nielsen. Hallinen going to try and go around the outside on row 2, gets a little nudge though and gets pushed wide. Surely going to go standard lap from there. Hallinen does. Into the Joker lap has gone...
Gustafsson.
Yeah, Gustafsson's gone in. Gustafsson is currently in second in the championship. Hallinen racing the drone up to the apex. Oh, side by side, Uito going to get passed here by Lucas Anderson. No, holds on to the position. Anderson is the championship leader.
Anderson could have had a look up the inside into the velodrome. Instead, he decided to have a look up the inside in the right-hander on the way up the hill and just didn't have the momentum to get back across, having touched the brakes to get out of that move. Uito, remember, did the fantastic double Joker drive in the semi-final. He's in a great position now. He doesn't seem to quite have the pace to be banging on the back door of Nielsen's cross car, but he's right there and there's a lot to play out in the next few laps.
There is. Alex Gustafsson, who jokered on lap 1, look, is already almost onto the back of the train. So that could see Gustafsson come through to the podium. Gustafsson is second at the minute. Into the Joker lap goes...
Lucas Anderson.
Yeah, Anderson's gone to protect the position because this is a championship fight he's in. And it's too late already, House. That's 1 lap from the back of the pack. Great job by Gustafsson.
Yeah, fantastic job by Gustafsson. He set the slowest lap time on lap 1, of course, as Hallinen has a look up the inside into the velodrome.
Going to go through. Great pass. These guys make such good, clean passes. Hallinen, of course, got passed on the run down the hill by Uito. They're side by side behind him, I think. There's your leaders, Nielsen, and they have slotted in. So Gustafsson ahead.
So Hallinen forced Persson wide, hadn't he? And then Gustafsson capitalised too. Gustafsson is under pressure now from Persson again behind, but Hallinen's about to come under pressure from Gustafsson too.
So Gustafsson and Anderson having jokered. You can see Persson, Hallinen, Uito and co haven't. Hallinen goes Joker now, and look at that, backing it in front. Persson's gone in. So Hallinen and Persson are going to drop back. This is going to put Nielsen, going to put Gustafsson and Anderson up into P3 and P4.
Perfect for EKSJC driver Gustafsson. He joked on lap 1. Hallinen didn't need to joker then, did he? But he's got out of the way, giving Gustafsson clear air. Now he can get the hammer down to chase Nielsen Uito. Last time around, the gap was 3.8 to the lead, but he looks like he's going pretty well, doesn't he? Well, they all do, to be fair. We'll see if he's closing next time around on this single timing loop that they'll cross over the finish line.
Gustafsson took the win here at Höljes for round 3 just a couple of days ago, so you wouldn't bet against him. But on the other hand, Uito was so impressive in that semi-final, Hal, that it's not a done deal.
It's not, no. Uito was brilliant then, and Gustafsson has, as the timing screen, Gustafsson's closed by 2 tenths. I don't think it's going to be enough, though.
Nielsen's gone in, and this is to try and cover off Gustafsson behind. So Nielsen's trying to cover the leader. He's seen that he's coming. That's a brilliant tactical move by Nielsen's crew, not to keep him out there. Normally, it's the leading weight. Oh, up the inside. Clattered into him a little bit, Gustafsson. That was a pretty aggressive move. I mean, he's gone through, and now Nielsen's dropping back. He's under pressure now from Anderson behind.
That's almost a direct replica of the move we saw Gustafsson pull at this very circuit on Thursday in very similar conditions. He's done that before, and he knows he can fit the cross guard just over that curb. It's cost him a tiny bit of time, but he was already challenging for the lead with Nielsen, and Uito, who was running second.
Oh, in the background, they're all getting crossed up. It wasn't quite so clean as the other day. How the other day it went through, could we? But not quite so clean this time. Gustafsson, Nielsen, Anderson chasing down Uito. Uito goes Joker now. Gustafsson going to try and get him at the merge. Gustafsson backs it in. Uito, though, is quick through the Joker lap. Watch this one. It's going to be tight. Where's he going to come? He's going to shut the door on him. Oh, just goes through. Only just. Gustafsson finds the tiniest of gaps. Uito is right there. Persson hasn't given up in the number 34 bug. He might try and find a way through, and we saw Uito make that pass on the run down the hill. So watch here for Uito. I don't think he's going to be close enough this time round. He was the one who made the amazing pass in the right-hander, but not going to be close enough this time. And in the 1.99, it's Alex Gustafsson. Oh, super close between him. Uito does get in. He's got super speed down there. Persson looking for a last corner pass. Not going to get it done, though. It's Gustafsson who's going to take a second win here at Höljes. Wins both rounds. That's going to close down the championship lead just a little bit on Anderson, who finishes P3.
I thought Uito had done enough with that perfect Joker lap. He had a 2.7 second margin as they crossed the finish line into the final lap, but Gustafsson just had enough, carried the momentum and forced his way through. Gustafsson's local circuit. He's only from Arvika, which is not too far away, the same place that Per Eklund and Johan Kristoffersson come from. So basically a home win, and he did a fantastic result. That move into the velodrome, or into the right-hander before the velodrome, was decisive, wasn't it? And this is where it all happened, because he took the Joker really decisively, ducked out of that really early, decided not to follow Halonen, went to the Joker running clear air.
Right decision, because he was down in P4, and you're never going standard lap. For me, if you're lower than third, and you're definitely going to go Joker if no one's gone. Normally, by the time you get there in fourth, the guy in P3's gone Joker anyway, particularly in a final when you know you're not going to get held up. I want to see these passes, Hal. You're right, it was an absolute carbon copy, but to me it was a little bit more aggressive than we saw the other day. I'm not saying it wasn't on, it just wasn't quite so clean. You wouldn't want him behind you, would you?
You wouldn't know. Persson got forced wide by Halonen there, and this is where Gustafsson capitalised. Now we're going to see, this is where we're going to see the contact. So this is Nielsen into the Joker. We're not going to see it at all, I don't think. Yes, so we're going to see it in the next corner now. Look at the positioning. He's already seen it, hasn't he? He's like, right, I'm going right. Gets back in the throttle. That would really hurt your wrist when the steering gets dragged out of your hands there, wouldn't it? But I don't think there's anything untoward. There was a gap and he went for it.
I like the fact he's kept it in his pocket. It's one of those moves. He's obviously only willing to risk it, you know, for the biscuit, basically.
But you can't do it all the time because people see it coming.
Oh, 100%. But it's to hold that back and go, now's the time to use it. And yeah, it is. Okay, I mean, we haven't seen anything on the timing screen to suggest that it's under investigation or anything. And job done. Aggressive move from Gustafsson. You can hear Laura down there getting ready to... Gustafsson's taking off his head and neck safety device. It's the Simpson device he's wearing there. Yeah, he's pleased. Look at that, they're so pro. Hat on, mask on already. They just know exactly how to do it, don't they?
Fucking unbelievable.
Okay, so apologies there. He's slightly excited, so...
He's really happy, eh? Well, here we go. Alex, congratulations. Round 3, round 4, box ticked. You've won them both. How does it feel?
I can't describe. I'm just so happy. I was aiming for podium, and then I just thought, forget it. I flat out, I just go for a win, and everything came apart, and I'm just so happy. I can't even describe how happy I am. This is my first ever double victory, so I can't describe.
Back-to-back wins coming into the weekend. Did you ever expect you to achieve anything like this?
I won here last year, but then I was aiming for the same result. Yeah, but I was aiming for a win, and I achieved the goal. So
and you got 2.
Yeah.
You got 2 wins. And of course we've got Finland coming up next in a couple of weeks. Same again there?
Yeah, my goal for this year is just to have fun and maybe protect the gold from the last year. But I'm gonna have the same goal for Finland, just to have fun, and then the results are coming.
You're definitely having fun, that's for sure. Thank you so much, well done.
Thank you.
Gustafsson quite excited, so again, mild apologies for the excitement, that's fair enough. Look how pleased he is, I love that. Yes, get in. Double win. That'll tighten up the championship standings. I'm sure we'll take a look at those at some point. We are moving on now to the open class two-wheel drive final. On the pole, Matthias Jansen. Jansen actually had a DNF in Q4, but had done enough by winning the 3 qualifying sessions prior to that. But they were all in wet and horrible conditions, and Simon Tiger seems to have that car right underneath him in the dry. Bertelsen at the back will try to make it difficult for them. We did see problems for Jansen. Yeah, banging again. Has Jansen got the car sorted? He has. So Jansen had problems in the last qualifying session. Not so this time. But he can't outdrag Simon Tiger on the way down to the first corner. Jansen going to go standard lap. Bertelsen going to go with them. If Bertelsen wants to Joker, he wants to do it from further back than that. I might have had a crack at the Joker on lap 1 from P3. Seeing as you are in a 3-car race, you know, why not? But you want to come out from outside and carry the speed through.
Yeah, he's had good pace this weekend, hasn't he, Bertelsen? So, yeah, I'd have mixed it up a bit and had a bit of a go. I do wonder if that popping and banging on the start line is maybe Tiger's anti-lag, with it being a turbocharged engine.
Isn't it?
Jansen, of course, has been racing in the SM Championship, the Swedish Rallycross Championship this weekend, and was busy doing semi-finals and finals previously. I'm afraid
Today, that is, sorry, just so
terribly.
you're aware, it's today.
Between the gap between Q4 and the semis of RallyX Nordic. Unfortunately, I'm very disappointed in myself. I don't know how he got on in the Swedish Championship round. It's been quite busy here in the paddock, but what an effort to be racing in both classes. Running quite a different specification to Tiger, as we've discussed through the weekend. So he's running an H-pattern gearbox, a 2400cc engine to fit into that category in the Super National class here in Sweden. And
Simon Tiger's running a rotary engine, turbocharged 530 brake horsepower car. Interesting though how Janssen definitely had the measure in the damp conditions, definitely.
Yeah, I think the extra track time will have helped with that, of course, because he's been feeling how the grip's been changing, but also obviously he goes very, very well in the wet. Doesn't quite have the power output of Tiger, and Tiger's all out of shape down the hill, cuts the curb on the inside, but I think he's gathered it up.
Janssen's car is looking pretty second-hand, and he drops a wheel off the side of the track again. It looked mint at the start of the weekend. He came and introduced himself to me and Hal down on the pre-grid on the first day, which was really cool of him. And, you know, he said about running in both, but it hadn't really occurred to me that would be both every single day. So, I mean, you know, we think we're knackered. He's done 4 days. He goes Joker now. This will be to cover off Bertelsen behind. Could be close-ish. Slides across to shut the door and does so.
I've done a double-header weekend in an RX 150 buggy and was quite tired, but he's been swatting flies in that Volvo for 4 consecutive days now, hasn't he? So he must.
His arms are going to be hanging off him. Either that, or he's going to look ripped by the end of the weekend. It's like going to be 2 tickets to the gun show just from wrestling the Volvo for an entire 4 days.
Fair play to Tiger though. He's on it. Well, yeah, he hasn't. Well, Janssen wasn't that far away, so he's got to stay on it, hasn't he? But he's pushing hard, isn't he? You can tell that by the little mistakes he's making. He's not been the most consistent performance, certainly not like Nielsen through this weekend or through this final. I think he might go into the Joker this time around just to cover off Janssen in case of a mistake, and he does. Yeah, so Tiger's gone in, good move. How close is Janssen? Not close enough is the answer. And a lap to go. So Simon Tiger then. Listen to that. Just listen to that engine. It sounds insane, doesn't it? It does sound good. Janssen's not that far away, is he? He was his best lap's 4 tenths off that of Tiger, and I think given the level of equipment, that's pretty impressive, isn't it? Absolutely. It really is. I think we can hear in the background actually cross cars as well, can't we? So you can hear a mixture of a rotary turbocharged engine up at the far end of the track and cross car pre-grid starts. Look on the right-hand side of your picture there, the cross cars are already lining up for their final. Look at the state of the front of Janssen's car there, has a lot of tape involved. It's all good though. 3-second track limit time penalty for Janssen, I believe it is, but Bertelsen's 8.6 seconds behind, so he needs a miracle to close the 5.6 seconds he needs to make the 3-second margin. Janssen's still closing down, Hal. Janssen is getting closer and closer to Tiger, so I don't know if he's just in maximum attack mode or if Simon Tiger is managing the gap. Dust flies up at that bottom corner. Tiger comes through the compression. There's just 2 corners now that can deny him. He did break the car on the last lap in Nielsen. Doesn't look like he's going to do that this time round. And Simon Tiger, having lost 3 of the 4 qualifying sessions, is going to win here, making it 4 wins from 4 in RallyX Nordic's open 2-wheel drive category. Brilliant drive by him again. 4 from 4. Fantastic performance. Hats off to Janssen though as well. I say genuinely, to compete in 2 categories over 4 days. That's 2 rounds of Swedish and 2 rounds of RallyX Nordic is bonkers. And he did it all from the start. Hadn't won qualifying, had he? So we'll start on the outside of the grid, but got a brilliant launch. That car launches significantly better in the dry than it does in the wet for rather obvious reasons, being so powerful only rear-wheel drive. But what a shot that is with the drone. Sort of flattens off that jump, which is actually massive in relative to flat corners in another rallycross track. And look at that, you can see the crest there in the road as you head up to the velodrome section. I love these drone angles. It just gives such a different view of rallycross tracks. And for the first time we saw them last year, we were absolutely blown away. It's no different now either. No, absolutely brilliant. Thank you to Vigo. And I noticed Vigo's got an assistant with him this year, and they've actually got a landing strip up the side of the grandstand out the front. So it's taped off, and there's then an area of carpet underneath where spectators are not allowed to stand. And he literally flies the drone from there. They put the battery on it, chuck the memory card in the camera,
head out. We even had a live shot from the drone earlier on this weekend, which is the first time we've seen that. So normally it's stuck on a memory card and taken into the truck, but we had a live shot and it was brilliant. He's some pilot. So have a look online at RallyX Nordic social media accounts for some of the footage that Vigo has taken. Well done, mate. Well done, Simon Tiger, as well. 4 from 4. This is going to be some fight. On the front row, Jimmy Osterberg and Isaac Rierson. They are the masters of chucking it in and holding it on the lock stops. Patrick Hallberg on row 2 with Jarkko Aronen on the outside. Tommi Räikkönen and Ronald Baldins on row 3. Baldins came from P6 to P2 in turn 1 in his semi-final. Osterberg, Rierson, Hallberg in that championship fight at the front. Great start, Hallberg on the second row, but Osterberg's got away as well. Rierson might be able to come around the outside from there. Osterberg's going to go deep on the brake, surely. Oh, up the inside line. Oh, up on 2 wheels. Into the joke that goes Osterberg. I think Baldins has come through. I'm not sure he's standard lap or whether it's Aronen. It's Baldins and Aronen have split the strategies, but Osterberg has gone straight to the joker, and that was a hell of a decision.
It was Aronen that clobbered the curb on the inside of the first corner, and Baldins who went into the joker lap. But did you see how the cars gripped up off the start? We haven't seen that since Thursday, have we? They really rise on the suspension like they're climbing forwards.
And these guys are already getting towards the back of the pack, Callum. There's a little bit of a concertina effect there, but Baldins has done brilliantly again. From the back row of the grid, he's right behind Osterberg. Rierson on the standard lap. Hallberg is where P3 of the drivers that have jokered, so hasn't gone Hallberg's way from row 2 on the grid, but it has gone Baldins' way.
Brilliant performance, just like it was on Thursday in these dry conditions. They're closing quickly on Räikkönen, who's yet again the third driver's in a bit of a no-man land situation. He's going to stay out for another lap. Osterberg sends it into turn 2.
Osterberg will need Räikkönen to get out of the way. It's probably going to take him another lap to catch up to him, at least in these final situations. Look at the line that Osterberg takes. It's so physical, how when they come from the left-hand side of the bank and they then cross the road and go through the ruts, you can see they're really having to hold on to the car.
So physical to drive, aren't they? Jimmy Osterberg last time around 3.5 off the leader, Isaac Rierson. I think that if he gets a couple more attempts, that's going to be nice and tasty for us as they join on the joker merge. Rierson, you can imagine, is going to stay out. Osterberg really could do with Räikkönen joking soon, just to get him out of the way, not necessarily being held up by him, but just to get him out of his line of sight so we can focus on the road ahead.
Yeah, get rid of the dirt that's flying up, maybe a little bit better visibility. It's not exactly dusty. Rierson looking confident out. Look at the rotor. Oh, that's a bad decision by Aronen. Aronen's made a bad decision, last minute change of direction there. He checked up for turn 2. Can't understand why he did that. It's going to come out into, comes out. Just look at the flames from Baldin's car as he lifts off the throttle. Aronen just comes out, but for me, Hal could have been further up the road.
He could. He cost himself quite a lot of time by making that decision change. You don't need to do that at that stage in a race, but it's worked for him, hasn't it? He's come out ahead of Baldins, who's got Hallberg all over him. This final is not going the way Hallberg would have wanted. Osterberg's on a bit of a mission up front. Let's look at the gap as they cross the finish line in just a corner's time.
So it's Rierson coming round to cross the start-finish line. I think he's got just about enough. Got laps to go. I wonder if he'll go earlier, if he'll just want no pressure. Watch for Rierson now. Goes joker. Here we go. Rierson into the joker lap. This will be for the victory. I'm pretty confident comes through. Amazing pace. Absolutely brilliant. Stunning joker lap. Rierson has smashed it.
He'd pulled out almost half a second on Osterberg on that previous lap with no distractions and just keeping his eyes forward. But what a brilliant joker lap that was. Maximised the apex speed on both the left-hander and the right-hander. Got the entry absolutely perfect by carrying that sideways momentum all the way into the corner. Brilliant job.
The joker's so wide for these guys, how they just carry that bit more. You look at the gap and you think, nah, he's never going to do that. And then they just come through the joker lap, just sail through it. As we see Osterberg up and over the crest, dropping one wheel onto the dirt, holds on to it, got a lap and a bit to go. Rierson qualified in P2, Osterberg was P1. And looking at my stats, where is Rierson? Rierson had a win in Nielsen at round 1, was third at round 2. Wasn't on the podium at Höljes. Rierson was, where was he? Down in P7. So Rierson was P7 on Thursday in round 3, redemption time.
Retired with a puncture in the semi-final,
yes,
didn't he, having dominated? Having
had TQ, yes, so Rierson had the TQ. This time round, though, no such mistakes. And these guys are locked in battle. Hallberg was in P1 in the championship, Rierson was in P2, and Osterberg was in P3. but all changed for championship standings with the results we've got here this weekend. Certainly over the course of round 4. Over the line, it is Riesen who takes the win. Second win of the year. Osterberg comes across the line in P2. Who got P3? Is that Aronen? Yeah. Jarkko Aronen got P3. So Patrick Hallberg, who was the championship leader.
Baldwin's ran into trouble late in the race. There he is, spun at the bottom of the hill, one of the fastest places on a rallycross track anywhere in the world. Great result for Jimmy Osterberg as well. Look at the looking back at the start. Osterberg didn't get the perfect launch, did he? Riesen had it round the outside. Look at him pitch the car into the first corner. That's Aronen popping it up over the curve on the inside. Then he swaps places with Baldwins. He follows Osterberg into the Joker. Meanwhile, Riesen's got the gap he needs and he's got clear air out front.
Just a stunning drive, really. I think Osterberg did the right thing, Hal. I don't feel he lost too much time. It was Aronen, wasn't it, who made the last-minute decision to change to the Joker. But I don't know that it would have made... Well, I don't think it would have put him on terms with Osterberg or Riesen. Look at the size of that jump from Riesen and the compression on the landing. Using all that travel, substantial there.
There it is. I don't think it ultimately cost him anything in terms of a result because he almost... Well, he didn't have the pace to challenge Osterberg and Riesen on this occasion, but it definitely cost him some time.
Look at that.
Riesen absolutely nailed that.
It's like a straight line, Hal.
We'll not see a more perfect joke up here at Höljes.
Oh, OK, there it was. That was contact between Aronen and Baldwins. Baldwins was ready to wave the universal hand signal there, I think.
Well, Baldwins had a send up the inside of Aronen into the fast right-hander. Seen the junior driver pull it off earlier, but just couldn't quite make it stick.
Riesen takes the win from Osterberg, and look, they were 5 seconds up the road from Aronen. Hallberg gets P4, Räikkönen, Baldwins a DNF, but Riesen, Osterberg and Hallberg all in the championship fight. Jarkko Aronen was in P10 from the other day. Let's go down and hear from our winner.
We're just getting all of the necessary sponsor stuff on to speak to Isaac. Here you go, here's your microphone. Thank you. Congratulations, that was a stunning Joker lap.
Yeah, it was...
Flawless, talk through it.
Yeah, it was a good start, and then I felt that I had the speed from the semi-final. And the spotter said that the pace was good, so I just kept it up and did no mistakes to the finish.
Your second win this season, obviously we have Alex going back-to-back. The feeling in JC Race Technic right now is very strong, isn't it? It's really good morale.
It's really fun, and I'm so happy for Alex to also win this day, so yeah, it feels so good.
Great team effort from you guys. Will you be cleaning up for the rest of the day?
Yeah, but but it will be fun.
It will indeed. Well, we'll see you in Finland, I'm sure, for a bit more. Congratulations,
yeah,
well done today.
Thank you, thank you.
Good indicator there that the Joker lap was as good for him as it was for us, Hal. It was mint.
Yeah, it was very good. He's obviously pretty pleased with it. Straight in for an interview after the performance he's just delivered, as Laura alluded to. That's a double victory so far for the EKS JC team as we look towards the grid for the Supercar Lites final.
On the front row, Tommy Hallman and Niels Andersen. Row 2 is Ostlund and Kasper Janssen. Row 3 is Jonsson and Oskarsson. Where's Olofsson gone? I think a decision's been made there, Hal, or someone's been put through, because I've got Olofsson down as going through in the semi-final.
Yeah, he delivered a great drive, didn't he? Meanwhile, Niels Andersen's made a great start at the start of the final. Yet again, Tommy Hallman didn't have the best start. He's got Mats Oskarsson buried in the back of his Supercar Lites machine. Linus Ostlund's gone Joker. This is where we saw Tommy Hallman leapfrog Niels Andersen last time around. And I think he's going to want to do the same again, isn't he?
Andersen's not going to want that to happen, is he? So we don't know what's happened to Olofsson. That's got connotations for the championship. Kasper Janssen has gone with this leading pack now. Oh, almost side by side. Not quite, though, for Mats Oskarsson. He's had a look on the inside of Tommy Hallman. Hallman not looking quite so comfortable, Hallman, but it's been pretty much a perfect weekend, as we say, that Oskarsson in the background drops up. Olofsson was given 9 seconds of penalties, we've just heard from race control, so one of our, I feel sorry for him, Hal, he's just getting that run of bad luck. But let's focus on this. Niels Andersen out front. Tommy Hallman Oh, I thought Oskarsson was going to pick him up on the way in. Kasper Janssen stays out. This is a good move from Kasper Janssen. But then on the other hand, Osland's closing these guys down. I don't think Houman's got the pace here.
No, he needs to drag some more pace out of this car, doesn't he? Because Linus Osland's finally found his mojo and he's pushing hard to close on the back of Janssen. Janssen yet to joker, isn't he? Yes, he is, yeah. So Janssen's going with Tommy Höljes, who's been the pace setter this weekend, but maybe it's not enough.
This track being this dirty is a great indicator of how tricky the conditions have been this weekend. In the background, you can see Osland coming through. Up at the velodrome, how we're seeing all sorts of alternate lines in wet conditions. Not this time, though. There's a dirty line on the outside of all these hairpins. Anderson, does he stay out and try and make the gap up, or does he go now and defend?
I think he stays out.
Janssen's going to go. Kasper Janssen goes. So in goes Janssen. This is to try to cover anybody he can. Osland, Janssen behind. Might cover Janssen if he's lucky. I think Jansen's going to get there first, though. Kasper Janssen has to slot in, not before letting Janssen know that he's there. Still impressed by Janssen. Oskarsson at the back of the pack, so it's Osland then who you need to keep your eye on in the yellow roofed car. Yellow and blue coming down the hill in the background now. Him versus Houman versus Anderson. Has Anderson got enough time to get back out in front of Osland? I think yes, but I don't want to jinx him. He came so close the other day. Can he get it done this time round?
The gap was 3.4 to the leader last time around for Linus Osland. This time around it's 3.5. He's lost a tenth to Niels Anderson.
Oh, he goes now. Niels Anderson goes into the joker lap. Watch for Linus Osland on the standard lap now. Anderson going to come out as close to the barrier as he can. Hooks the curb on the inside line. Shuts the door. And that's a brilliant job by Niels Anderson. Came so close in round 3. Gets the job done in round 4, but he's still got a lap and a half to go, and he's going to come under immense pressure here in the background from Linus Osland and Tommy Höljes.
I really think Höljes could have stayed out and have a lap there, regardless of what Niels Anderson did, because Niels might have fallen into the... Well, he has fallen into Linus Osland, and that could have held them both up enough for Höljes to get a gap. I maybe wouldn't have joked them, but it's so easy for me to say that from here, isn't it? Meanwhile, Niels Anderson wants redemption for losing out, thanks to the pressure he had from Linus Osland on Thursday. He said he just was so wary of Linus being behind him, and now it's the shoe's on the other foot, and he's got this comfortably in his hands.
And the difference is the jokers are done, aren't they? The tactics are played out. He hasn't got to do that lap on his own and try and keep the door shut. This time the pressure is very real. So Niels has got to keep it tidy. Osland will have a look if he can. Osland is right there. Last opportunities to pass are coming up. He'll know, so keep it in tight. Niels Anderson's going to bring it in tight to the curb on the inside line. Holds them off, so there's just 2 chances left. Bottom of the hill, I don't think it's going to happen. We've only seen a junior do that ever. And down here, they're not close enough. Niels Anderson has managed to pull a gap away. He was brilliant on Thursday in round 3, but didn't quite get the job done. Came second then. This time, though, top step of the podium. It's a win for Niels Anderson. P2 goes to Linus Osland at home. Houman is on the podium again. That's 4 podiums from 4 for Tommy Houman. So brilliant for his championship aspirations, but what a result for Niels Anderson.
Fantastic drive. Made up for just missing out on Thursday. He hasn't been the quickest all weekend, hasn't he? He's been open to that, but he's got such composure. He's known that he can deliver it when he really needs to. I think Tommy Höljes will be a little bit disappointed, but critically he's racking up these championship points, isn't he? Look back at the start now. Niels Anderson makes a brilliant launch. Höljes hasn't made a good start in either the semi or the final. Mats Oskarsson sent it round the outside of Linus Osland, left Osland nowhere to go, so he went joker. That turned out to prove pivotal in the fight for second. Great move. There we see Höljes coming under pressure from Oskarsson. Niels Anderson with a little bit of tape flapping off the front of his car just over that crest before the velodrome. Janssen also, we haven't mentioned much about him, but he did a brilliant drive as well, didn't he, given his experience?
Yeah, he really did. I say, I'd love to see if it'll be really interesting to see when we go to Finland if Kasper Janssen's learning curve continues on that trajectory. Because if it does, he's going to be on the pace of the front guys pretty soon. Anderson's joker was tidy on the way in. I wondered if he might rotate it all the way through to the first apex, but he straightened it out. He had enough time, and Osland slots in between him and Houman. We'll see if that, in terms of Houman's results, yeah, he was a P3 at Nielsen, so he's had 2 wins and 2 P3s, Tommy Houman has. Niels Anderson, though, takes the win at home in Sweden. Osland P2, he's properly at home with his dad being a big part of the track here. Tommy Houman still on the podium. 4 from 4 podiums for him. One race left to go. Supercar. Looking forward to this. Gronholm versus Kristoffersen on the front row. Kristoffersen didn't make the final on Thursday. Went out in the at the semi-final stage. Gronholm, meanwhile, took the win. It was Gronholm, Markland, Sabo on Thursday. Fraser McConnell, look, is on row 2. He's in the championship fight with Kristoffersen. Sabo on row 2. Not going to do anything dodgy with his teammate in front of him. Enzo Eid in the final for the first time, and Backrud with an electric start in the final for the first time. Here we go. Revs up. Kristoffersen gets away okay, but it's a better start by Gronholm. Fraser McConnell trying to come around the outside of Kristoffersen. He'll try and nail that onto the apex. Will Kristoffersen go joker straight away? Yes, he does. Oh, I wasn't sure if McConnell was going to try and change his mind. In behind the team has gone Szabo and Enzo Eid have all gone straight to the joker lap. Fraser McConnell has gone with Niklas Gronholm, and Backward's gone with them as well.
By going by side into turn 2, neither McConnell or Kristoffersen had no option but to go standard lap and joker respectively. That's working out for Kristoffersen now, isn't he? Because he's already got his eyes on the back of third place Andreas Backrud. Szabo lost out badly at the start. He made a great launch, got boxed in, had nowhere to go.
So Kristoffersen is doing the same as he did last time round. He hunted Szabo down over the course of a number of laps. What he doesn't need is Andreas Backrud to be in his way, because that could hamper his chances. At the minute, look, he's there. The three cars at Joker are already on the back of this train. The front guys aren't going slowly, but he's closed them down. Let's see if anybody goes Joker this time round. No, they don't. I thought McConnell might go early, but they've got to wait, I think. And if Backrud holds them up a little bit, that car's just a little bit heavier. It's very capable of a lap time. But, oh, Kristoffersen up the outside into the corner before the velodrome. That's an unbelievable move. Absolutely stunning. Backrud made a slight mistake. He's gone round the outside and makes the pass. I've never seen a pass there before.
What a move. Andreas Backrud is one of the best rallycross drivers in the entire world, and Johan Kristoffersen just mugged him into that corner. Nothing Andreas could do once Johan had got all the way around the outside of him, and now Johan's going to be on a massive push to catch McConnell.
3-time world champion. People often say he had the best car. If you think Kristoffersen can't race, you need to suck it up, because I've seen some unbelievable passes from this man here at Höljes this weekend. Inside, outside, corners you can't pass on. He's an epic rallycross driver. So's Backrud, but that was an incredible pass.
It is, yeah. You can't take anything away from Andreas. He's on top of a car that's still a little bit alien to him. Johan's so in the groove,
I know.
Isn't he?
I just saw him reach for the handbrake. You watch the rear wheels lock. You just know he's in full send mode. Every single tenth that he can possibly get. We'll have a look at the gap when they come back over the start finish line. Down the hill now, McConnell in P2. Kristoffersen will want to beat him at the minute. He's going to get him at the joker. But I think Kristoffersen's got his eyes on Gronholm. I think this is that he wants to get in front of Gronholm. Coming around now, they've got a couple of laps still to go. McConnell P2, Kristoffersen P3. They're breaking away from Backrud, Szabo and Eid behind.
It's stabilised. It's still on the same tense.
McConnell goes joker. McConnell goes joker now. He wants to come out in front of Andreas Backrud. There's a train of cars behind Backrud. Kristoffersen has got the Jamaican, but Fraser McConnell moves across in front of Andreas Backrud. Still a great drive by Fraz from row 2. Can Kristoffersen get Gronholm?
It was 2.5 seconds the gap between Gronholm and Kristoffersen for the previous 2 laps. Look at the attitude of Andreas Backrud's car as he's wrestling this electric machine to stay ahead of Szabo. Meanwhile, up front, Niklas Gronholm will be getting the hurry up from Jussi Pinamaki. Kristoffersen's coming, you're doing a great job, but you need to stay on the pace you're doing.
He won't be telling him he's got 54 car lengths like he was in the semi-final. Kristoffersen said he wasn't going to give him that either. We're on to the final lap now. Watch for Niklas Gronholm. Comes through turn 1. Oh, he might get this done. Into the joker lap now. The Hyundai goes sideways. Kristoffersen's on the apex of turn 2. Gronholm lights it up, pops the curb on the left hand and comes out just in front of Kristoffersen. He's done it. He's got him. Johan's going to try now and see if he can make a pass up at the velodrome. Little nip on the bar to get it turned in. Can he have a look or not? Gronholm's put in a great lap there.
Kristoffersen's applying the pressure now, and he applied the pressure after his semi-final win, saying, I won't let him have it that easy. He hasn't let him have it that easy, but Kristoffersen and Gronholm have both delivered brilliant performances in this final.
Absolutely stunning by Kristoffersen. Gronholm, though, is going to take the double win here at Höljes. Kristoffersen's had to fight for it with the issues. We've seen him on the limit. He's made some brilliant passes, but it's Gronholm who wins round 4 of RallyX Nordic. Kristoffersen P2. Fraser McConnell was right with them as well in the background. Szabo, Backrud drops back to the back of the pack. Szabo comes in P4. Eid P5. Good result for the Belgian, but that is a great result for Gronholm. That was a brilliant fight between 2 giants of the World Championship.
I spoke to Johan Kristoffersson earlier today about his thought process for the day, and he was really saying he might have to focus on the championship, but he so desperately wanted to beat the World Championship specification Hyundais. Gronholm made a brilliant start, didn't he? Look, this is exactly what I said. Kristoffersson and McConnell went side by side, leaving McConnell nowhere to go but on the main lap. Johan went into the Joker. Fortunately, he didn't get too held up behind Andreas Backerud because of this move. Look at Johan Kristoffersson send it up the inside of Backerud here. He actually gets rotated a little bit around the front of the Fiesta, keeps his foot buried on the floor. You will not see many moves like that in Rallycross anywhere in the world.
He's a weapon. That was absolutely brilliant on the dust. Oh, fantastic! What a move. We've got a very happy man who's just joined us in the commentary box. Niels Andersen is here, fresh from his Lites victory. He's absolutely grinning like mad, as you would expect. Look at that, Gronholm coming in. Kristoffersson threw everything at that.
But critically took maximum championship points. Okay, he didn't take the maximum points.
No,
he didn't have anyone in the championship beat him, did he?
Because no, McConnell's done well to come in just behind him as well, but the gap will have increased. There is Gronholm. Out of the car now, they're all in the Parc Ferme area. You can see the cars parked there ready for scrutineering. Final result of the weekend here from Höljes, 3:53.3 for Niklas Gronholm, just 0.4 of a second, exactly 0.4 of a second ahead of triple world champion Johan Kristoffersson. Fraser McConnell in the championship fight with Kristoffersson and Evjen gets a podium here. It's another good result for the Jamaican. In fact, I think it's podiums all round, isn't it? Yes, it is. No, it's not. Podiums, 3 podiums, but great result for McConnell. He's going to have lost a few points, but it's all good. Sabo, Eid and Backerud.
So, Niklas, in the semi-final, you had 54 car lengths, as your spotter said. In the final, you had Johan Kristoffersson right behind you, and you still come out the winner today. Are you more satisfied with that one than Thursday?
Yeah, I am. Honestly, the first laps I didn't know what the gap was behind. They didn't tell me, they just some other info, and at some point Jussi said that now we need a bit more, and I'm let's say mostly happy that I found it. I started to push a bit more without doing some silly mistakes, so that's something to be satisfied about. I think at the point he told me it wouldn't have been enough to take the Joker, Johan would have come in front, so happy with that I could get the maximum out of me. Yeah, feels a bit better, yeah.
Back-to-back wins as well. How much confidence does it give you heading into the rest of the season?
No, I mean, it's always nice to compete, and that's why we came here. We could do the same style of in testing, but we wouldn't know what the pace is. Now we got some clue of that, so I think it's a win-win situation. And yeah, for sure it feels nice to get a few wins, and yeah, work continues.
It was a brilliant race as well for any Rallycross fans. Thank you so much, Niklas. Well done. I'm going to send you now straight to the studio because Hal and Coley want to have a chat with you as well. Well done. Thank you.
Thanks. Now we need a little bit more. That's about as calm as it gets, isn't it? I don't say it was 54 car lengths before. It was about 54 centimetres, Hal, this time round. Super close, but he found it, and you can see how pleased he is. That's a different guy from Thursday.
Yeah, he found 3 temps on that lap, didn't he? He was 2.5, 2.5, and then 2.8 just before the Joker, and that made all the difference.
We're going to take a look at the championship standings. Johan Kristoffersson on 100 points. He has a 13-point lead over Fraser McConnell. Sondre Evjen is in P3, and he's just 4 points back from Fraz. Niklas Gronholm, look, only been here this weekend, 57 points out of 60. He'd be in contention, wouldn't he? Enzo Eid up into 5th. Sabo, Carlson, Mitchell, Markland and Linneman are your top 10. We have been joined in the commentary box by Niels Andersen. Yes, mate, that's more
finally.
Like it. Yeah, yes, well
yes,
done.
Finally.
Here are the Supercar Lites standings. Niels, look, is in P2 in the standings. Tommy Howman at the top of the table. Ostland is equal with Niels, but Niels is ahead because he won this last round. Yes, won this last round. And then we got, Jonsson, Enlund, and Eklev, Oscarson, Foss, and Kasper Janssen. How's it feel having come so close on in round 3?
Yeah, it's amazing. Finally. I said I will come and visit you guys, and I came today instead of yesterday.
You say, wait till you get the win to come and visit. Yeah, what was the difference? You just seemed to have the pace that you needed this time. You weren't under the pressure between the Joker and the extra lap that you needed to do.
I finally got to drive in my own rhythm, because last race Linus was hunting me like mad. And because it's a big difference of having someone that's close behind and not knowing if you're going for the gap or just trying to get fast. But this time I got to do my own pace, and luckily it was good enough.
So how do you feel? Like, is this like one of those moments where you go, right, I can do it? Because there's a point, isn't there, where you want to prove to yourself that you can do it.
Johan told me to go out and gather as many points as possible, and I said, yeah, but still I want to win. So
that
I
sounds
did both.
very like Johan.
Yeah, I did both.
Yeah, you did. Absolutely did both. Talk us through your race here, mate. So this is turn 1. You're nicely ahead here, but go on, talk us through it.
Yeah, the start was really good. I noticed that the grip in first position was a little bit lower than in third. So when my father was yelling me to go in, I thought, okay, so now we get a real run for it.
What sort of feedback were you getting from your spotters at the point, during the race? What were they saying to you?
I constantly get information on how Linus is doing and what pace he's going at. And of course it helps to know if you have to risk it or save a little bit. So in Joker I can say I risked everything because I knew it was tight.
It was a good Joker as well. You
it was
were happy.
A really good Joker.
Hooked it over the curb on the exit there.
Yeah.
Hallman looks slotted in as well behind Ostland. I mean, we've got 3 rounds to go. So what are your thoughts? Is it, can we challenge for the title? Hallman's been tough, but you're there now. You're winning now.
Yeah, of course, Hallman has done a great job in the first 4 races. But still there's some more to go, and I would really like to finish off the season in the best way at my hometown.
We're heading, of course, back at Arvika. That would be a tidy place to win the championship, wouldn't it? Or to win another race.
Of course.
We're heading up to Ouluzone in Finland next in 3 weeks' time for another double header. It'll be another hardcore weekend for all of us. Have you been to Ouluzone before?
No, but I wonder if Tommy has been there.
Okay, so you think Tommy might be able to give you the tips. What do you think, Hal? Do you think Tommy's been there?
I don't think he has, no. But it doesn't take Johan long to learn a circuit, does it? So I'm sure that you'll be doing your homework well in advance of going there. I think it's quite a different circuit to Höljes and to Nielsen, so it'll add a different dynamic. But you have a lot of experience in crosscar as well, don't you? So I guess that adaptability you're quite used to.
Yeah, of course, and it looks like more of a racing type of driving track, which I enjoy. I think I can handle well.
Yeah, tarmac corners and gravel straights it looks like in Finland. So that's Johan Kristoffersson heading back towards the paddock.
Heading to the studio.
Oh, he's coming to the studio. There we are. Laura's told us he's coming to the studio. So is Niklas too busy to come to the studio for us?
Niklas is also coming as well.
Niklas is also coming to the studio. There we go. They're going to get their caps. Thank you, Laura. Laura talking to us live from the paddock on the live walk back here to our studio. I've nearly forgot what it was called. How tired
Home.
How tired are you?
Not enough. We go for some testing tomorrow, I think.
Yeah, here.
Yeah, try the electric car.
Okay,
see what
cool.
it's like.
You excited to try it?
Yeah, absolutely. I am. It looks quite nice. I think they've done a great job developing a new type of car, which also has another whole spectrum of driving capabilities compared to the normal light car.
It looked nice to drive. From our point of view, each time I've seen drivers driving it, I felt they've looked quite comfortable in it. Not that they're fighting it, that they're able to push in it.
Yeah, and it's also more forgiving with the torque you have. The amount of torque is the big difference compared to the normal combustion light.
Okay, awesome. Well, we wish you the very best of luck with your testing. Congratulations on the win. What's the career plan? Come on, what do we do now?
What do we do now? We take race for race.
Okay,
and then
race
we
for
have
race.
to see at the end of the season where we go.
Okay, fantastic. Well, we wish you the best of luck with it. And we'll
Thank
see
you
you in Finland. Well done, Niels. Good job, mate. Good job.
Thanks.
Well done, Niels.
We're going to head down and have a quick catch up with Laura, and then you come and join us in the studio.
Okay. Yeah, carry on. Just. Sorry about that. We were just discussing what we're going to talk about in the interview. Simon, a 9-second penalty for you in the semi-finals means that you were out of the final. More bad luck for you on what has been a really challenging weekend. Talk us through what happened.
I mean, Nils did a better start, so I thought, let's just be behind him and make it to the final. And I mean, I have used the exactly same lines all weekend, but this time I was 5 centimeters too close to the penalty markers. and also 3 of them. I mean, that's a lot. I don't think I have ever been on one of them, so just stupid. Sorry.
Can you pinpoint why it happened? Is it because of the pressure building over the weekend? You're pushing
No
too
pressure.
hard?
I mean, I saw that Nils was too quick. I didn't have the grip I wanted when I was driving. So I didn't push too hard either. My spotter, my sister Sanna, told me, okay, we keep it this speed and keep it to the final and maybe improve there with the setup. So I don't have an answer for that, actually.
Better luck next time. Thanks so much for talking to us.
Thank you.
Welcome to Geek Club, where 2 6'4" men bent over a laptop looking at tenths of a second. Jan Kristoffersson, congratulations on P2, and Niklas Gronholm, congratulations on the win. Niklas, we'll come to you first of all. How are you feeling? It looked to me like you felt a little bit more at one with the car and able to get that little bit more when you needed it.
Yeah, exactly. The first few laps I didn't really know what the pace is. Nobody told me the gaps and so on. So I was a bit too careful in the beginning, and then Jussi said that now we need pace, and I managed to get a few tenths out of the lap time. So yeah, happy about that.
Okay, well done, Johan. You were absolutely on a mission. From the attitude of the car, from us from the outside, and what you said after the semi-final in particular, you were pushing so hard. I felt you were pushing that hard in the final. Obviously, you've been looking at the lap times here. What have you seen? Because I know you'll have seen something.
Yeah, I mean, I did what I could. The lap times was not just enough when Niklas got into the rhythm. But it was a difficult place to be also in the final in the second position, because I had 2 Hyundais on the inside and our starts hasn't been good enough, but yeah, it was goodish. Niklas had a very good start, so I managed to squeeze in there, and then McConnell came from the outside, so I didn't plan to joker on the first lap just because of the exact situation that I ended up in, but sorted out that pretty quickly and then tried to get my head down, but yeah, just wasn't enough, but I did everything I could, but yeah, so
yeah,
now it feels shit, but
we
but
totally, mate, we totally understand, and we really appreciate you coming to join us in the studio. I know
it's not that bad, you know.
No,
I'm also happy in one way because I'm able to challenge-ish Niklas, but not really, because I know that he can drive fast. He's controlling it a little bit, but I've been in the situation myself. You have that small tense here and there. You feel comfortable, and the plan was to not make Niklas feel comfortable in the final, but then I had to joker on the first lap, and yeah, I did what I could, but wasn't just enough.
Well, you didn't look too comfortable out front, Niklas, and I say Jussi came on the radio. It was 54 car lengths. We've said it was about 54 centimetres in the final. He was close, wasn't he? And it's always hard to beat this man.
It is, and I'm happy we came here, and I'm happy Johan was here, because obviously he always steps up the game, and yeah, we had some good battles the whole weekend, and yeah, for sure, if we're looking at the car perspective and team's perspective, we've been able to try a lot on the car, different things, and I would say we've gone forward. But, you know, we wouldn't have beaten him, I think, on Thursday with that car. So now I think we've done some good things.
How much difference has it made having Christian in the team? Obviously, you've been working quite closely together in the awning. He's been very quick this weekend. I think he's taken a big step forward from where he was last year. How much has that helped you improve your own performance?
Yeah, like I said earlier already, it's been good. I think we have doubled the data. So and yeah, he's quick. I think he's also stepped up since last year. So it's been a good help for sure. Yeah, good to have 2 good cars, 2 fast cars in the team, so always a good help.
Well, congratulations, double win for you, Niklas. I don't think we're going to see you for any more of RallyX Nordic, but it's been great to have you here this weekend, and we wish you the best of luck with whatever your plans are for the season.
Yeah, let's see. You never know.
Okay, cool. Well, maybe we will. Johan, championship for you. Obviously, that's. I know you said on Thursday when you didn't make it through to the final with the puncture, it was like, okay, well, I need to think of the championship. I mean, you were thinking of a win here, definitely, but in terms of championship, that's gone well. You've stretched the lead here, and I know you want to win any title you go for.
Yeah, I mean, that's sometimes the target when you need to fight for the championship as well. But just after I let the clutch go in the final, all those thoughts were out of the window. So I really pushed everything today, and especially on the fifth lap here's 5 laps, so fourth lap in the left before going up the velodrome. There I cut the curb like massively and had a big hit under the car. So I was like, I hope that it keeps together. And then I was like, you have to finish as well, not only trying to beat Niklas, but yeah, it was a good points in the end this weekend for me. So, but yeah, like Niklas said as well, I mean, it's fantastic for me to have them here as well, and also not to forget Meccano has also showed some great pace together with Enzo and Sondre. So, but especially when you get both Niklas and Christian, which is on the absolute top level for us to compete against them with our car, but also to see that we have made a step forward with the car, but also for me to try to squeeze out absolutely everything from the car as well, because that's always good practice. As it is for Niklas to control the front is also good practice if you end up in that situation as well. So, but you need a little bit of mix of everything. So it was a very good weekend.
You talk about that hit you had on the curb in the left-hander before the velodrome. I think it was the lap before that you passed Andreas through that corner. Just talk us through that move.
It was 2 laps before that, I think. But yeah, that was a match to talk about, really. He was a bit wide going in, and then I just tried to carry around the outside. So I lost some time, but not too much. So I still was hoping that I would be able to get Niklas, because just like as he said before, he pick up the pace. I thought that I was also be able to pick up the pace, but I couldn't. It was nothing more to give.
You'd have lost more time if you'd have been behind him. We were amazed by that pass. It was absolutely brilliant, really good.
And that was also, I didn't plan to go Joker on the first lap to be a bit more safe, because I knew that car is a bit heavier and he doesn't really have the pace. So when I did the Joker and I saw Andreas continue on the second lap, I was like, that was not good. And then he was a bit wider, and then I tried, okay, now I have to, if I want to win, I need to overtake now. So, and then I tried and it worked, so not too bad.
Awesome. So Niklas, then, can we persuade you to come up to Oulu then in Finland maybe for the next couple of rounds, 3 weeks' time, and a bit more warm-up time?
Like I said, you never know. Let's see what happens. There's quite a lot of
Niklas, drink.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on, not only rallycross, so we need to see if it's possible, but for sure, racing is always fun.
Have either of you been there before, Oulu Zone?
Yes.
Yes?
Many times. We used to do it in the Finnish Championship. Okay, many times. 3 times I've been.
Well, what's it like? Tell us, because we've not been here as a series before, myself and Hal, we haven't met any drivers who have been there, so what's it like?
It's like circuit racing.
So it's a lot of tarmac.
It's a lot of tarmac, yeah.
It's 2 straights on gravel only, and the rest is on tarmac. Yeah.
Yes, the last straight before the last corner and after first corner. Yeah.
So you've done your homework already, Johan. If you've not been there, you've already seen some videos at least.
I watched an onboard from some like we call in Sweden folk race or something. They had something like that there. So I watched just a quick onboard, just to have a look.
There's a folk race driver somewhere who's going to be stoked to hear that the 3-time world champion is.
He finished P2. Yeah. So maybe he knows himself.
Lost 3/10 in the second corner. No,
he started P3.
Okay. The detail is insane. It's brilliant, lads. I'm going to thank you and Niklas. Best of luck this season. I hope we might see you and Johan. Obviously, we'll see you in Finland.
Good job for you guys as well.
I
think you want to rest your voice now a bit.
Thank you ever so much, mate. Yeah, we're looking forward to that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Laura, come and join us. I'm Andrew Coley. This is Hal Ridge. Laura Winter's coming in. We have had a long weekend. It has been a long weekend, but we've had a lot of fun. It's so good to be back at a rallycross track and bringing you these amazing guests. So I just want to say thanks really to the whole team for getting us here. We're going home for a fun 10 days in quarantine, but I'd do it all again because it's just nice. It's just so nice to be here. Laura, you happy?
Oh, I've loved it out there, just buzzing around the paddock. And honestly, just the generosity actually of the drivers, be it 11-year-olds, be it 3-time world champions, be it legendary 2-time rally world champions, whoever it's been. been just the generosity when I say, I'm so sorry, can I just grab you for another interview? It's not my fault you continually keep winning.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Every time they're like, yeah, sure, no worries, where do you want it? What, you know, they've just been brilliant. And it's been so nice after obviously being part of World RX over 2019 and, you know, a little bit in 2020, given the COVID and everything, to come back into Rallycross World and just to have had the most mega weekend. And I'm so glad I've finally seen brilliant racing at Höljes as well, albeit without fans, but you know, can't have everything, can we?
Great to have you here with us. Hal, thank you very much as well. It's been a fantastic weekend, I say. We will be with you again in 3 weeks' time from Oulu in Finland. Niklas Gronholm says the corners are tarmac, the straights are gravel. Is he going to be there or not? Well, you know, he says, let's. He's stood behind the camera over here now. Niklas. We want him to come along. But yeah, from myself, Andrew Coley, from Hal Ridge, and from Laura Winter, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you in Finland. My name's Andrew Coley, you're watching RallyX TV. If you enjoy sending it sideways and dirt and mud and water, you should already hit the like and subscribe button. Do it now.